Preseason football on Cox Sports Television is brought to you by Louisiana Propane Dealers. Get up to $1,500 in rebates on propane accessories. Find out how at louisianapropane.com. Valero, keeping America moving. Louisiana Seafood, demand it. Acme Oyster House, still grilling and chilling for over 100 years. Capital One Bank, proud partner of Cox Sports Television. And by Heineken, serving the Big Easy. Just a moment ago, we honored the slain officers in St. John Baptist Parish Sheriff's Department in LaPlace, Louisiana, Brandon Nielsen and Jeremy Trish. Both lost and both remembered. We now go down to the sidelines where Mike Neighbors is standing by with your Capital One Bank sideline report.
Thank you very much, Tim. You know, Saints rookies and free agents very excited tonight to make their debuts inside the Superdome. But for one brand new Saint, it's kind of a strange night. You see linebacker Curtis Lofton has only played inside this building as a member of the Atlanta Falcons tonight, his first game with the Saints. We asked him this week, what's the difference between the Falcons and the Saints? He said, quote, everything. The coaches, the scheme, and it's hotter in New Orleans. I also had a chance to talk to Lofton about Jonathan Vilma's predicament. What if he returns? How will that affect him? He said one of the first things he did when he signed with the Saints was to call Jonathan Vilma. They have a great relationship, and it would work in the team concept. That's why Curtis Lofton is the Capital One Bank player you can bank on. And with that theme, back up to you guys in a luxurious Capital One Bank broadcast booth.
Thank you, Mike. And no, there's no question that the acquisition of Lofton, as much as anything else, I think has spearheaded what we've seen in these first two games from Steve Spagnuolo's defense. They knew what they were getting when they acquired him.
And he's bigger, he's younger, and presumably more healthy right now than Jonathan Vilma. And as great as Jonathan Vilma has been quarterbacking the defense with the New Orleans Saints, Joe Vitt and Mickey Loomis and everyone here in New Orleans, they feel very fortunate to have Curtis Lofton fill the void left by Jonathan Vilma. He's an excellent add to this defense, and I think he's made them better.
You're taking a look at Vitt. Of course, the second stint for him as an interim coach. He took over for the Rams in midseason. This is a different calling card for him. He knows that at the end of this month, on August the 31st, he will surrender reins for a few weeks, and we're still awaiting the announcement as to which of those on the staff will be, in fact, taking over as interim coach then. Mike Thomas is back deep for the Jaguars. Thomas Morstead will boot it away for the New Orleans Saints, and here is your Napa Auto Parts opening kickoff. And it will be a touchback, and the Jaguars will start from their own 20-yard line. Blaine Gabbert is an outstanding talent. The question for Jacksonville, can they give him enough in their arsenal to have him have an effective season? As you can see, he was in the class of hard knocks in year one, which is oftentimes the case when you come into the National Football League.
Yeah, he only completed 50% of his passes, slightly better than that of Tim Tebow. He needs to improve in terms of his pocket awareness and his presence in the pocket, where he tends to give up on plays a little bit too soon.
Rashad Jennings is the I-back, and he'll get the first carry off the left side, and he negotiates ahead for 4, maybe 5 yards on the play. And we take a look now at this Jaguar offense brought to you by Louisiana Propane Dealers. Aaron Robinson, Blackman, of course, the heralded pick from Oklahoma State. Mercedes Lewis is a game play maker at the tight end position, no doubt about that. This is an offensive line without its 2 tackles tonight, and that's going to be the real question. Can they protect Gabbert, keep him healthy for the bulk of this season? Twin tight end look for Jacksonville on 2nd and 5. And again, it's Jennings, and he sets sail down the sidelines for a first down. Ushered out at the 42-yard line by Patrick Robinson after a pickup of 17 on the play. Robinson is back in the lineup. They want him to get a couple of series in.
Yeah, and Lauren Robinson is a good block right there on Roman Harper. You can see it. That's where he's sealed. But Patrick Robinson's got to come up, I think, a lot sooner and make that tackle. He's got to be able to come up and make the tackle sooner before he hits the first down marker. But Roman Harper, blocked by the wide receiver, didn't help at all.
Lewis giving some motion, moves into the slot to the left side. 3-step drop, and they'll go in that direction. Pass is caught, and it's a first down for Justin Blackmon, or perhaps he was out of bounds just a couple of yards shy. I think he is 2 yards shy of the first down. Another missed tackle.
Yeah. Patrick Robinson had been battling injuries, didn't play last week against the Patriots. Look, head down, missed tackle in the open field. We said in their first 2 preseason games how good this defense has been at tackling players in space. And there you can see a whiff. And that's a tackle you have to make in order to be a good defense.
Not something you do a lot of in practice any longer. There was a time when they did. They don't as much anymore. There's Rashad Jennings again. Should be enough yardage for the first down. Their second of the day. As we take a look at the Saints defense, brought to you by Louisiana Propane Dealers. Jordan Bunkley, Cedric Ellis in a contract year trying to impress. Will Smith, the defensive end. Shanley Lofton and Hawthorne, the linebacking core for the Saints. Harper and Jenkins have been a story. Most believe, along with Robinson and Patrick, that Malcolm Jenkins has been the real beneficiary of the Spagnuolo system. Yeah, they've brought him a little closer to the line of scrimmage. He's been a factor, 2 interceptions already. 3 tight ends for the Jaguars and a naked bootleg that's going to work. This will be for first down yardage on the receiving end. Colin Clardy. Clardy brings it in and has a pickup of 13, and the Jaguars have something going at the same 34-yard line.
Well, anytime you're the end man on the line of scrimmage, see, here's the linebacker, and that's his man right there. David Hawthorne, he allows the tight end to get outside of him, and once he makes the catch, you're not in position to come up and make the tackle. So you have to keep your eye on your man in order to be in position to make a play.
Jaguars go out of the I formation on first down at the Saints 33. Jennings again. He has been a workhorse in this series. And once again, outstanding work on that left side and a number of missed tackles by the Saints defensively. We've not seen that so far this year. It's another first down to the 19, a 14-yard pickup.
Oh, this is the opposite of what we talked about in the open. Watch the missed tackles. Number 50, Curtis Lofton. There's a miss there. Then another missed tackle by Roman Harper. Not till the defensive backs can rein him in where they get him on the ground. But Jennings did a really good job of running the ball, but the missed tackles on defense is not something we've seen in this defense in their first 2 preseason games.
Jennings, the 40-man out of Liberty, has got 39 yards on 4 carries so far for Mike Mularkey's team. He's in his first year as head coach of these Jaguars. Jennings carries it again. He burrows ahead for a couple of yards, and that's it. Well, the Jaguars have made their move into the red zone. They are in the Slap Ya Mama Cajun seasoning red zone.
You like saying that, don't you?
I love saying
that. I can tell.
Keeps the executives happy, too, when I do say it. Got to get it in. I think they'd be happier, however, if the black and gold were in the Slap Your Mama red zone. Second down and 8. Jennings again. This time the Saints defense picks it up, and it was the middle linebacker Curtis Lofton that was going nowhere. Hey, he's having a little fun mixing it up with some verbiage with Brad Meester, the center, the veteran of 13 years out of Northwestern.
Well, this week, defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo continued to harp on being a sure tackling defense. All he talks about are the fundamentals. And he says, hey, we want to pursue to the ball, we want to tackle well, and then we want to build on that. And that's the reason why Jacksonville has been able to move the ball. They haven't tackled well on this possession.
Montel Owens into the backfield. Thomas has moved into the slot, number 80. This is the third pass of the drive, and the pass is caught. Touchdown! Justin Blackmon. 16 yards, and the Jaguars lead at 6-0.
Well, someone has to tell Marquise Johnson in coverage, number 49, matched up against Blackmon. He's a big-time playmaker. He was that in college. And you see, he goes for the ball, but he doesn't secure the tackle. So the major theme on this possession for the New Orleans Saints defense is poor tackling has yielded a touchdown for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 5 missed tackles on this possession.
Well, the first round pick, very effective in this opening series, but it was more really the outstanding ground game of the Jaguars led by Rashad Jennings that was in large measure responsible for this outstanding drive. Gabbert was 3 of 3 for 37 yards. Jennings had 41 on the ground. Blackmon with the finishing touches. 7-0 Jacksonville. Rolling on the river, the Natchez Queen on the Mississippi. Jacksonville with the 7-0 edge on a 9-play, 80-yard drive. Made it look easy. Justin Blackman on the receiving end of the touchdown pass. And Blaine Gabbert was 3 of 3 in that series for Jacksonville. Travaris Cadet is back deep for the Saints as they get ready to tee it off. Josh Scobie, another Louisianian in his collegiate past. Big foot from Louisiana Tech fame. Will kick it away for the Jaguars. That was your Rouse's Market scoring drive that we were looking at a moment ago as you see Cadet take a knee. Scobie now can say he's played in every stadium in the National Football League. He tweeted that just earlier this week. Heavy duty in the social networking. We'll be right back. Of the game brought to you by Louisiana Propane Dealers. Of the 518 draft picks in Saints history, which university has produced the most? I love this question. Is it Nebraska, LSU, USC, or Notre Dame? Text Propane to 269-411 to get the question sent to your phone. Text your answer back and you can win a camp stove unit and tailgate utensil set from King Cooker and Propane from Louisiana Propane Dealers. Message and data rates may apply. Tim Brando, Solomon Wilcots, Mike Neighbors down along the sidelines. Saints with their first drive. We'll see if they can answer the Jaguars' 80-yard drive to open this game with Drew Brees at quarterback. And he will roll out to the right and look for a favorite target, Lance Moore, but I think he may have been out of bounds. Drew Brees, it's been an incredible ride for him. NFL records in passing yards, as we mentioned, but none of that is on his mind now. He simply wants to have some success. It was 2 quick series and done in New England. I saw him before the game, but he and his lovely wife Brittany had their 3rd child yesterday, and so he's a new daddy again. He's got his mind on getting this team down the field in a hurry. And that pass is caught. Pierre Thomas coming out of the backfield for the first down to the 35-yard line. Paul Posluszny made the stop, a 14-yard gain.
And this is what Drew Brees wanted. You can see they are dialing up pass plays to start this game. The first pass incomplete, and then just a nice flip over to Pierre Thomas. He creates the first down. They're going to continue to put the ball in the air. Drew Brees wants some reps to gain greater continuity getting the ball to this set of receivers.
Favorite target coming out of that backfield, along with Sproles, really, was Pierre Thomas. Had 50 catches a year ago. Here's Ingram, and he's ahead to the 39-yard line. Let's take a look at the rest of the Saints offense, brought to you by Acme Oyster House. Colston, Henderson, Graham is going to get some time after having that back ailment a week ago. Collins, the fullback, and Pierre Thomas, who's already caught one at running back to start the game. Grubbs is the only change. Carl Nick's gone in that offensive forward wall. Brian Della Puente, the anchor at the center position. And it's 2nd down and 6. Brees dumps it off the screen to Thomas. And he's on his way to midfield and beyond. First down at the 36-yard line.
Now watch the center. Brian Della Puente, number 60, gets out in front of the screenplay, and you just love the way Pierre Thomas, he sets up the block and then watch it. He's just all power from here on out. And he gives, I think, the offense a lot of teeth in terms of their ability to be very physical behind a very good offensive line. We already know about the explosive weapons when it's time to throw the ball, but when they can just bow their neck and pound it with Pierre Thomas, that's when this offense is really clicking.
25 yards on the play. Drew now looking again, this time for Ingram. Mark down at the 23-yard line, just inside the 23. And another first down, 13 yards.
And Timothy, don't you just love the energy that Mark Ingram brings when he gets the ball in his hand? Look, making people miss tackles, and that's how you win on the offensive side of the ball and able to move the chains. This offense is clicking the way Drew Brees said he wanted it to in tonight's game.
He made Allen missed him. That's no doubt about that. And it's 1st and 10 again at the 23 of Jacksonville. Ingram again, ahead for 5 more, down to the 18. Prior to the game, I went down on the field and I was watching Drew, and as he was making his way through the portal, all of the young kids wanting the autograph, he stopped, and I'm telling you, signed every one of them. And I waited for a moment just to say congratulations to both he and Brittany for the child. And he said, I said, well, what do you want to do tonight? He said, score quickly. And they're in the sloppy Mama Cajun seasoning red zone. That ball was tipped, it appeared. And it'll be third down coming up.
Oh, you talk about the fact that he's in the community. He's got such a good presence. We've seen him work with fans and do so many things where he and his wife have really, I think, have worked tirelessly to help the community here. But boy, what he's done for this football team and for this city. And now tonight, he's not thinking about that. You mentioned it. He wants to get the ball in the end zone.
Anthony Smith had tipped that one, and that one was also knocked away. Graham was the intended receiver, and Posluszny knocked it away, number 51. As you look at that Jaguars defense, it seems to have held them to a field goal. Posluszny at the middle with Allen and Smith on the outside. Aaron Ross and Middleton are starting at corner tonight with Mathis out and Barry Cox out as well. And it's Garrett Hartley's turn to try a field goal for 37 yards. Out of the hold of Morstad. Coach McMahon has mentioned that he made absolutely certain that Hartley has continued to work with Morstad as his holder. And Chase Daniels continued to work with Casey as his holder. They want to make sure that these kickers are working with the same guys that they have historically. And it's 7-3 after the field goal of 37 yards. Jacksonville with the lead. The Saints answer the Jaguars touchdown with a 37-yard field goal. As we look at Garrett Hartley, and here's a look at your Rouse's Market scoring drive. Didn't take long, 9 plays, 62 yards, but stymied after a tipped pass at the line of scrimmage and an incomplete attempt towards Jimmy Graham. Hartley from 37 yards out.
And you know Drew Brees, why he's okay with the field goal. He wants touchdowns.
Yes, he does.
He really does want to put the ball in the end zone.
I think that just may have assured that we'll see him in another series. Morstad to boot it away, and it's Thomas back deep again, this time 4 yards deep, and he brings it out. Look out. He's got a lot of space here. I think he may have been pushed out of bounds at midfield. Well, let's take a look at the NFL headlines brought to you by Garrity Printing, a Harvey company. Dolphins, Tannehill getting the start tonight. I think everyone expects Ryan Tannehill to be the guy. Dwayne Bowe finally signed that franchise tender with the Chiefs. And Jeff Demps, the Olympic silver medalist, has now signed with the New England Patriots. They were talking a lot about that when we were up in Foxborough last week.
Yeah, he's a running back, and Stephen Ridley, the starter in the backfield, he's come up with a leg injury of some kind, so maybe that signing has perfect timing for the Patriots.
It was a 55-yard return by Thomas to give Gabbert great field position to open this second drive, and it's Jennings after the check down to his third option, ahead for about 4 to the 46-yard line of the Saints. David Hawthorne, linebacker, acquired, of course, in the offseason out of TCU with the tackle.
And it's been a very inauspicious start for this defense. You know, Joe Vitt, when we talked to him during training camp, he says, you know, preseason games, they don't count, but they do matter. He said they want to come out and they want to play well, they want to execute and perform. I think, needless to say, the defense did not perform well on that first possession.
2nd and 6. The ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage and almost picked. I think Jordan almost came away with an interception there. It deflected off what was in fact a tipped ball coming with some pressure by way of Scott Shanley.
Yeah, Shanley just collapsed the pocket, forces the quick throw, and while Cameron Jordan was in position on coverage, didn't get his head around to be able to make a play on the ball. Needless to say, the defense was well coordinated with pressure and coverage on the back end.
3rd down and 6. We'll call it a long 5. Gabbert was asking for a timeout. I believe he may have gotten it at the last moment.
Number 11, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Jim Core is our Referee tonight, the replacement official still at work, much documented through the course of the preseason. As we come towards the end of the first quarter, brought to you by Verizon. .5:25 remaining in it. And the crowd really up on its feet now, looking for a stop on what is, as I think they may have said, 3rd down and 11. They did penalize them. He did not get the, well, we were told that he had gotten the timeout. Apparently he didn't. Gabbert gets away from pressure and ducks under at the 47-yard line, and the Saints do get the stop.
Junior Gillette, once again, he's been a constant in terms of pressuring the quarterback. They only rushed 3 linemen. And if you can get pressure by rushing 3, then that means you were doing a really good job. They had 5 offensive linemen to block 3, and they couldn't keep Junior Gillette from putting pressure on the quarterback, Blaine Gabbert.
Gabbert, I think he's still a little miffed he didn't get that timeout, but it did appear to be a little late. Brian Anger will punt it away. Should get it off around his 40. Tavares Cadet is back deep, and now we've got flags down. Looks to be procedure, the preliminary indication.
Ball start, 56. 5 yards, still 4th down.
You mentioned Core and the rest of that officiating crew. We need to remind everyone that as well as they seemingly have done, there have been a few gaffes in the preseason, highly documented because all of the games are televised, as everyone knows. But these are not what you would consider to be the primary officials from the college game. Now, those guys are busy getting ready for conference play in the major conferences. The boot is high and goes into the end zone. And it'll be a touchback. And the Saints will take over after a 53-yard boot. He's all smiles for now. But the intensity is there when he comes back onto the field momentarily to lead the Saints down the field.
My neighbors with your Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers camp notes. A good week for the defense last week on the practice field, especially these 2 guys. Malcolm Jenkins, Jonathan Casillas both had 2 picks against Drew Brees. Darren Sproles out all week, not playing tonight, but Joe Vitt tells us if it was a regular season game, he would play, just a precaution. And the wide receiver position, nobody has made the most of their opportunities than one Andy Tannen, with Arrington, Joe Morgan, and rookie Nick Toon on the sidelines. I don't think he's dropped one pass this camp. Move over hammer time. We've enjoyed Tanner time the past few weeks. Back up to you guys in the Capital One Bank broadcast booth.
All right, thanks, Mike. And it's Buick Thomas off tackle for a pickup of 3. 2nd down and 7 coming up. Jeremy Mincy, number 94, making the stop. 5 years out of Florida for the Jaguars. Where do you see this team, this Jacksonville team, in their division this year, Sally?
Well, in the AFC South Division, we know the Houston Texans won it 1 year ago. I think the Colts are going to be better. I think the Tennessee Titans are going to be markedly better. I think they're in the front-running seat for that division. But Jacksonville's going to be there as well. Remember, this defense was very good 1 year ago. They get any production out of the offense, I think they can compete for a division title.
Not much for Ingram. Got stopped for no gain, so it'll be a 3rd down and 7 coming up. Tavares Cadet checks back in for him. What is an obvious passing situation.
I want to go back to something Mike Neighbors talked about, the defense picking off Drew Brees during the week. Drew Brees has admitted that Steve Spagnuolo's defense has been a different look for him to help him prepare for the 2012 season.
Empty backfield, out of the shotgun, Brees underneath to Lance Moore. And he is very close to the 1st down. Maybe a bit shy. I think the mark is going to be about a ½ yard to a yard shy as Andre Branch and Aaron Ross collaborate on the stop.
But you love his sense of urgency when he gets the ball. Watch how he attacks the line of scrimmage. He gets vertical right away. See, boom, and he gets vertical, attacking that 1st down marker. The ball actually comes out. It appeared it might even be a fumble.
Yeah. It took a while for Drew to come off the field there, by the way.
Now the official saying that he was down, but I think that's a fumble.
I do too. Yeah, that's one of those where the replacement officials sometimes can be exposed. Mike Thomas, again, is back deep, had that beautiful 55-yard kickoff return a moment ago. Morstad's boot is not a good one. Wobbling, shanked off the right foot, and out of bounds. We'll rule it all the way up to the 34-yard line. Another outstanding situation for the Jaguars. That was close. From that angle, Brown may have caused it. We'll be back. .com fantasy football is as legit as fantasy gets. Legit is playing fantasy like it's reality. Legit is getting free live scoring and instant video highlights. Go legit. Sign up for free at NFL.com/fantasy. In the interest of full disclosure, here is the proper angle for Mr. Wilcox.
And that's a fumble.
Yeah,
I'm going to
no
go ahead.
doubt
Now, the officials missed it, and we're not here to pound on the officials. They're learning. But guess what? Mike Mularkey, the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, can he challenge that?
Sure.
Yes. He missed it as well. Yeah. So it's not that the officials screwed it up, but the head coach for Jacksonville could have thrown the flag and would have gotten the ball in better field position.
Gabbert going end around here to Thomas. Tries to reverse his field. The Saints were ready for that one. Only a gain of a yard at that. As you look at the head coach now in his third season as head coach, his first in Jacksonville. He was with the Bills, as everyone knows. He's tried to instill a more family unit. You know, when Ross, his wife, was trying to compete for the gold, Jerry Simmons, his receivers coach, 68 years young, by his side over there, said that they called the team together, missed a little time so they could watch the sprint towards gold, and meant a lot to this team. It did. Montel Owens is in the backfield. And this carry is going to get them again just within a couple of yards of a first down. Cedric Ellis making the stop.
Montel Owens running behind a block by Greg Jones, the fullback, 33. Comes over to carve a hole in that defensive front for the New Orleans Saints, who had been doing a really good job defending the run up until tonight. We already talked about Rashad Jennings ripping off 41 yards on 6 carries on that first possession, and now you can see Jaguars doing a decent job running the ball here.
3rd down and 1, and they go with a shotgun. Jennings off the left side. Boy, he burst through a big gaping hole before Hawthorne was able to corral him at the 48-yard line of New Orleans.
It's a new defense, but you've got to be able to fit in the run. Look, 2 linebackers, both Lofton, 57, Hawthorne in the same gap. And I think Hawthorne overran the play. He did recover to eventually make the tackle, but you could see the Jaguars, they're just running the football right at Steve Spagnuolo's defense to the tune of 63 yards so far.
Spags looks perplexed, doesn't he?
He understands it. He doesn't understand why his guys are out of position, though.
7 carries for 51 yards. Now the play fake. Gabbert, who's got such a big arm, goes to the safety valve, Owens, and he's stopped for little, if any, gain. Hawthorne again the stop.
That's why they drafted Gabbert. They actually moved up in last year's draft to take Blaine Gabbert because he does have such a strong arm. He did struggle as a rookie 1 year ago.
I don't know that he was protected, though.
He was never comfortable in the pocket. Yeah. He was never comfortable.
I think that's the big question coming into this season is how well will this offensive line that's been banged up protect him. That's the end of the first quarter. With your Rouse's market score, the Jaguars 7, the New Orleans Saints 3. For a capacity crowd here at the Superdome in New Orleans, the second quarter of tonight's game is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Tim Brando, Solomon Wilcox, Mike Neighbors. Let's take a look at your Louisiana propane dealer's first quarter stats. The thing that just jumps out at you is the rushing yards statistic. No question.
Quite a few throwing the football as well.
Oh, yeah.
For Blaine Gabbert.
Montel Owens remains in the backfield as the lone setback. Thomas in motion. And it's Owens that's going to get the carry. He stretches that Saints defense out, and very effective. Ushered out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Lofton, the middle linebacker, again after a gain of 7. 3rd down and 3 coming up. Roman Harper also over there to help.
Well, see, that's just too easy. If you're Coach Spagnuolo, you are not happy with your run defense right now. They're getting outflanked. Jonathan Casillas that time just didn't contain the football. And so you can see Coach Spags is saying, you know, why aren't we getting into position and making more plays? And so right now they're learning a new defense, but they're getting caught out of position.
Jennings is back in the game. Gabbert's pass is to Blackman. Oh, what a nice move there. Inside the 30. And out of bounds at the 27, and a late flag comes down. And another missed tackle by the Saints secondary. We may have a face mask to go with it.
Yeah, and if this is Patrick Robinson, number 21, in space, you have to make this tackle. You're going to play winning defense. You got to be able to get the wide receiver and ball carrier on the ground.
I think that face mask may be against the rookie. I think it may go against Blackman.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
You could see the face mask right there. There it is.
Well, the officials did see that one, didn't they?
During the run, legal block in the back. 89, offense.
Oh.
10 yards
Wow.
from the end of the run. The play is still good enough for a first down.
So that's against Mercedes Lewis, the tight end.
They went with a more greater offense.
the more egregious act
Yes.
was tagged that time.
They could have called the face mask.
Closed captioning for tonight's game is provided by Aaron's. Nobody beats Aaron's, nobody. Go first and 10 now with twin tight ends for Jacksonville. And it's Jennings again. Only a yard, maybe two. With a little extra effort. Hicks, Hawthorne collaborate on the stop. They'll say you got two, so it's 2nd and 8. Gabbard is 6 of 7 for 57 yards in tonight's game so far. Has been very sharp, and they expect, talking with Bob Rutkowski, of course, part of this offensive staff came over from Cincinnati with the Jaguars. They expect to give these guys almost a half of playing time. They need the work. Going with that out route. That pass is caught by Greg Jones, the fullback, 9 years out of Florida State. What a career he had there. Johnny Patrick wrapped him up.
Johnny Patrick has done a really good job, I think, in tackling. We talked about this in the Patriots game, and this is a sure tackle. That's what you want. Sometimes you're going to catch the ball in front of you, Timmy B, but you don't want to allow yards after the catch or yards after contact. He's doing a much better job of keeping the wide receiver in front of him, tackling, and getting them on the ground than Patrick Robinson on the other side.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. Let's see if they go towards Robinson down at the bottom of your screen working on Blackman. And that pass is the crossing route underneath to Thomas. And he's got it at the 22-yard line. Some pressure coming to Gabbard, but that's a 9-yard gain. The pressure from Johnson.
And pressure, but they didn't cover it up on the other side. And watch who's in coverage. Look at that. There's a hit from the corner, but number 91, Will Smith, look, is in the area. Defensive end dropping in coverage, but didn't get to the area to cut off the pass.
So a first down as Gabbard continues to roll right along, 8 of 9 for 68 yards. Montel Owens in the backfield. He dots the I. Blackman in motion. Owens, nice little stutter step.
Another missed tackle.
And jitterbugs inside the 15 down to the 13 before Robinson tripped him up. Gain of 8.
They signed him as an unrestricted free agent. Broderick Bunkley, the defensive tackle, 77, had an opportunity to make the tackle and then miss. Now they have 7 missed tackles in the first quarter and a half of the ball game. It's the reason why they can't get the Jacksonville Jaguars offense off the football field.
And Jacksonville has entered the Slap Ya Mama Cajun seasoning red zone yet again. Twin tight ends, Lewis and Zach Potter. And the pitches to Owens. He dropped the football. Still loose. It does appear that he was able to recover. Lofton is on top of him, but
if he would have caught this, I'm going to tell you right now, but we're going to stop it and show you. Look, right here. There is a hole to run for a touchdown. You and I could have run in for a touchdown, Timmy B.
That's
and he just caught the ball.
Yeah.
Right there,
Yeah,
that's going to be a touchdown.
You just illustrated quite a scene. You're right. I think he was looking at it, too. That's the reason he didn't reel it in.
Wow. The Saints just dodged a huge one there.
Jennings back in as the lone setback. On third down, Gabbard's pass is caught. First down at the 10. Mercedes Lewis, number 89, making the catch. Well, what a talent he's been through the years coming out of UCLA in his 7th year.
Big, strong, and athletic. Better run blocker than they ever thought he would be. coming out of UCLA. But Maurice Jones-Drew is not playing in tonight's game. I always talked about Lewis being a really good run-blocking tight end going back to their college days. You can see on the face of Joe Vitt, he's concerned about this.
Oh, yeah. This is that's a pensive look from a coach that expected this aspect of his team to be in pretty good shape after the 2 road games, and we've got some procedure.
False start, 73. 5 yards, still first down.
Evan Britton, the left guard. This is, in some respects, a patchwork offensive line, too, that's done a lot of this damage to the Saints. Neither tackle starting this game for the Jaguars. They've been a little banged up at that position.
Yeah, and Britton, when he came out of Arizona 4 years ago, he started at right tackle opposite of Eugene Monroe, who you mentioned isn't in tonight.
Owens, the I-back, on first down. He stopped this time. Good penetration by Cameron Jordan to disrupt that play. Number 94 has really come around at that defensive end position. And watch Lofton here on this play.
Yeah, watch, he'll just knife right in. There you can see there's Jordan knifing in, and then Lofton come in for the cleanup. Good penetration started by Cameron Jordan, and didn't make the tackle in the backfield, but he really did destroy the run play, allowing Lofton to clean it up.
Yeah, he's beginning to look like what they anticipated when they got him out of California. 2nd and 14 for Gabbert. Plenty of time and wide open. Passes caught. Touchdown. Colin Clougherty. 14 yards the strike. Well, they just cleared out that area, didn't they?
They did, and Johnny Patrick, he bit on the deep route, and he should have just stayed to the outside. And watch him follow 46 up the field, or excuse me, he followed the wide receiver, should have stayed outside for Clougherty.
Already taking it in, and he's pretty excited. Why wouldn't he be? Young man from Brown. Ivy League performer, now Scobie for the extra point. Well, the Jaguars have done to this Saints defense certainly more than we've seen in the first couple of weeks of preseason in road games in places like Foxborough, and certainly the game in Canton against Arizona, where that offense was really dominated by the Saints in the opening game in Canton.
That was just a basic combination route, 2-man combination route, where Patrick is working with Roman Harper. And they both bid on the seam route and allowed the tight end Clougherty to get outside for an easy throw for a touchdown for Blaine Gabbert.
Looks as though we have a clock issue here. Well, Golden Flakes, Snack Foods is powering
the previous point is under review.
Well, we're going to review it, okay? Golden Flakes Snack Foods is powering the CST Twitter account tonight. Tweet your questions or comments to @CoxSportsTV, and our announcers will pick out the best ones, and we will bring them to you during the game. Also, Victor Howell will be commenting on our Twitter page from the Louisiana Cat Studio. That's at Cox Sports TV, powered by Golden Flake Snack Foods. See you there.
They're going to review the play. Did he actually get into the end zone on the catch? Let's see if he did.
Yes.
Clear to me.
Yeah.
But they have to review it.
I know they've got
law.
to. It slows the game down, though. 13-3 the score, and it has been confirmed.
After further review, the ruling on the film is confirmed. Touchdown.
And with all due respect, they're going to review every touchdown play and every turnover in the
But
National
you didn't have to go
Football
under the hood for that
No,
one, did you?
No, you did not.
Okay. But it is a work in process, and that's okay. The real work in process is this New Orleans Saints defense. They've now given up 2 touchdowns here in the first half. They had only given up 2 touchdowns in their first 2 preseason games, so there has to be some concern there.
Yeah, this is Blaine Gabbert's an awfully good young quarterback, but he's looked a lot better tonight than most observers would believe he deserves to look.
He's not Tom Brady.
No.
Who didn't look this good last week?
Absolutely. 14-3 Jaguars. We'll be right back. Is around the corner, and our game is all about flexibility. In addition to full season, half season, and traditional 12-game plans, we have an all-new Friday night package starting at only $207. It includes matchups against the Heat, the Clippers, the Thunder, and is offered in most seating locations throughout the arena. Call 504-525-HOOP or visit Hornets.com to get your seats today. The New Orleans Hornets basketball This is our game. And so happy, Solomon, to have Dell Demps, the general manager of the New Orleans Hornets, with us here in the booth. And congratulations. Let's see. I do a little basketball in college. Dukies and Wildcats, Kentucky, and pretty good to start there. And you did with the two big ones, and of course Darius as well in the second round.
Yeah, and we've got to make sure they're not fighting against each other. We're going to play together.
Well, thanks for staying with us up here in the booth. We do want to visit with you a little bit about what's in front, but certainly Morgan is, by the way, fumbled it, but it'll be a touchback. Saints will get it at the 20. Talk to me a little bit about working with Mickey Loomis and working with the new ownership, Mr. Benson.
It starts with Mr. Benson. He's been great. He's given us the tools necessary, so we can be successful moving forward. And then working with Mickey is great. To have another general manager that you can talk to, bounce things off of. We do things a little bit different in football than they do in basketball, but been able to learn from both.
Tell us about the new look Hornets and what we can expect with all that young talent.
Yeah, we have a bunch of young guys. Our core group is going to be 24 and under. And, it's exciting times. We got the first pick in the draft with Anthony Davis. We also had the 10th pick with Austin Rivers to go along with Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon, we think he's a big-time player. We added a couple of free agents. And, it's going to be a fun team to grow with.
And bad news for the Saints, just as we're talking about the Hornets, is Breeze was hammered by Terrence Knight in 96 coming through. And that's the fumble recovery. It's his arm going forward as you see 94 Jeremy Mincy making that hit. And he was concerned about his arm as he came off the field. The Jaguars do have it at the 15-yard line.
Mincy gets the hit. Ball comes out before Drew Brees' arm can get going forward. And then he had Mincy land on him, driving that shoulder into the turf. There's nothing good happened for the Saints.
No, not at all.
Even as they turned the ball over. So this is not a good start at all, neither offensively or defensively for the Saints to begin this game.
Just like that, the Jaguars are back in the Slap Ya Mama Cajun seasoning red zone at the 15-yard line. I think they are reviewing to see if the arm was moving forward. While we have a moment, Dell, let's talk a little bit about when you've got this kind of young talent trying to bring it along and harness it. There you'll see, again, the replay. Mincy making the hit. The arm wasn't, I believe the ball was not moving forward. The arm may have been. We'll see. These replacement officials are doing the best that they possibly can. But I don't know that you can go tuck with this particular call.
Empty hand moving forward.
Yeah, I think so.
That's how they critique this kind of play.
I got to tell you, I'm a Saints fan. I'm a Saints fan now, but I grew up in Oakland, so whenever you say tuck, I get flashbacks.
You know that rule very well.
I know that rule.
Del, you know that rule very well. I think a few coaches, Tom Brady remembers it too.
Yeah.
Kind of helped his career get started, so to speak. But let's talk a little about a kid like Davis, who I've had the opportunity to meet his family. He is mature beyond his years. They may be young, and certainly Austin Rivers, Doc's son. These are guys that may be young, but they're mature beyond their years. You
start with Anthony. First of all, he grew, 8 to 10 inches in a 2-year span.
Yeah.
So he used to be a guard. And so, he's one of the guys that just got into the spotlight recently. And then, Austin Rivers, his father's been around the game. I mean, when I played with Doc Rivers, I remember seeing Austin Rivers running around the court. We used to chase him off the court so we could practice.
I got the chance to call both of his kids' games. Well, he beat North Carolina in a game I had at the buzzer. That was an incredible win and probably Austin's greatest highlight.
I want to know how Davis' experience in the Olympics, how do you think that'll help him during this
Yeah.
rookie game?
It was great because, he got to practice against those guys. And, in a couple of practices, they really tested him. They went after him. And, he responded. And so, we're hoping that experience, he got to see greatness up close.
That could accelerate his growth and development.
That's what we're hoping. But we're not going to rush him.
Dill, you got a young coach, a guy that understands blending this talent together and what it means. And at this stage of this organization, you feel like you got the right mix both on the floor and in management?
Yeah, we do. We feel like, we got a group of guys with, Eric Gordon and Ryan Anderson, and we just signed Robin Lopez. These guys are all 24. And they're entering their 5th year in the league.
The Anderson pickup, I thought, was impressive.
Yeah, so we got guys we call young veterans.
Yeah.
And then to bring with our young guys with Anthony and Austin, they're both 19, and we got a couple 21-year-old guys. Then our veterans are like 26, 27.
Well, Roger Mason, you got coming in.
We added Roger Mason. He's a good presence. He's been on playoff teams, and we hoping that he can be a big presence in the locker room as well as make shots.
More importantly, this is a team that the fans can really get behind. You'd love to go out and see young players with big-time names and big-time talent and watch them all grow and gel together.
That's going to be the fun part, is watching them grow.
Bill, thank you so much for stopping by. It's a joy having you here.
Thanks for having me.
And how about his ability to pull out the tuck rule as it related to him? That's really good. He brought a football perspective to a basketball conversation.
He's an athlete. He knows about improvisation. You have to be able to run with it on the fly, right?
I'm sure my 8th grade Pop Warner coach is watching right now. He's pretty proud.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
you got it.
All right, you guys have a good one.
Dempson, have a wonderful season. And we are finally, apparently, going to get the ruling. But you agree with me, this should stand as a fumble.
After review, the ball came out as his arm was going back. The ruling on the field stands.
Yeah.
First down, Jacksonville.
Fans don't like it, but that's the proper call. It took too long to decipher, but it's the proper call.
Empty hand was coming forward. I mean, the hand was empty. Ball was not in it as the arm was coming forward. Makes it easily discernible, and much to the dismay of Drew Brees and interim head coach Joe Vitt, it's the fact.
From the 15, first down now for Jacksonville. And again, it's 24. Montel Owens carrying. He's ahead for 3 yards on the play. This has been a disastrous start for the Saints offense and the Saints defense.
Yeah, the offense not producing anything over 66 yards in total offense. And how about the defense giving up 175 and close to 200 yards in the first half.
Looks to be Chris Chamberlain who's down on the field, injured for New Orleans. It's gone from bad to worse here in the first half. Jacksonville inside the 20-yard line. We'll be right back. That's your replay of the Saints-Sations 2013 calendar special. It's on CST tomorrow at 6:30 Central. Tune in for your behind-the-scenes look at the making of the calendar with interviews from the Saints-Sations themselves as they put together another spectacular calendar from Sandestin, Florida. Chamberlain making his way off, got a lot of help, and if you're a bit squeamish, you might take that into consideration as we show you the replay of this injury. Doesn't look good.
Yeah, take a look at the left leg of Chris Chamberlain. There you see it's caught in the turf, and he gets folded over as he's being blocked by one of the Jacksonville Jaguar players. Never want to get caught in that position.
Another one of those acquisitions that the organization made knowing of the concerns they had at linebacker. What with the loss of Vilma and the direction that they wanted to go in. Granted, Jonathan Casillas, who's been hurt. Will Herring is a steadying force and a veteran of this league as well. But they certainly had high hopes for Chamberlain and his role in this season.
Had played his previous 4 years in St. Louis with the Rams. Started some 13 games in the same defense for Coach Spagnuolo.
2nd and 7 for Gabbert after the fumble. And a lot of pressure, and a flag goes down late. And that pressure was coming off the edge for the Saints by Martez Wilson.
Yeah, Guy Wimper, number, I think, 68. Look at this, right there. That's holding, if I ever saw it.
That's against Gillette, and Martez Wilson coming from the other side.
Yeah, Gillette has been a constant source of pressure in the face of the quarterback, no matter who they've played, whether it was Arizona, last week in New England, and now here tonight against Jacksonville.
We talked often about Wilson and how fast he is coming off that other defensive
end.
Holding,
68, offense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
And when you're playing defensive end and you put your hand down on the ground for the first time in a while, as he has, and you're a sub 4.5 40 runner, and Gillette's pretty quick too, that's a lot of pressure coming off the edge.
You still see Gillette's jersey just being mangled from being held on that plaque. See penalty yards. Saints haven't been flagged for a penalty yet.
That's maybe the only stat they've got in their favor tonight. 2nd and 17. Owens takes it inside the 20 to about the 18 in the arms of Jonathan Casillas, and Isa Abdul Kadus, number 42. 5-yard gain.
Or they're still getting outflanked. Look at how many blue jerseys get outside the white jersey, and then he's able to cut it up. And so 5 yards on a simple toss play to the outside just shouldn't be allowed. And I think the Saints know that. Casillas knows it. But they're not getting what we call good fits up front in terms of their alignment and assignment in the run defense.
Third down, 13. Gabbert, plenty of time, and a mix-up. It appeared in that pattern, and the pass is incomplete. Mike Thomas, the intended receiver. Corey White, number 24, providing the coverage.
Watch Mercedes Lewis, 89. He's going to be wide open. Blaine Gabbert didn't see him.
No, he
tried
didn't.
to get it to Thomas, who had all the white jerseys around him, and he missed this tight end. As big as he may be, Lewis still missed him wide open.
Josh Scobie now will try from 36 yards away. Out of the hold of Brian Anger. Right through the uprights. So the Saints turnover leads to an additional 3 in a first half that's been all Jacksonville. 7:25 remaining in the half. For the Valero trivia question, John Casey has 42 field goals of 50-plus yards. He is second all-time behind which current player? And the answer to that Valero trivia question. Take a guess, Solomon.
Sebastian Janikowski.
You think?
No, I'm just throwing it out there.
All right. Here it is. Jason Hansen. How about that?
Detroit Lions. Boy, he's been good for years.
Remember when he came out of Washington State? What a booming leg he had. Scobie to kick it off. Travaris Cadet is back deep for the Saints. And I'd say all systems better be go in this next series. Otherwise, number 9 is not going to be pleased.
Well, you're going to see the number 1s play significant more time tonight, particularly with the lack of production.
Cadet, he's going to bring it out 7 yards deep. Well, might not have been the best of choices. Runs into a bevy of Jaguars at the 15. Brandon Marshall, the first to meet him, number 53. A 22-yard return, but they don't get it to the 20 as you see the Rouse's Market scoring drive. After the turnover, Scobie the 36-yard field goal.
So they lose yards on the drive
yeah.
on the 3 plays, but still get the 36-yard field goal.
Graham in at tight end. Henderson comes flanked to the bottom of your screen. Colston to the top. Pierre Thomas, the running back. Pierre's got it, and he surges ahead to the 20-yard line for a healthy gain of 5. Aaron Ross made the stop, and they'll say he picked up 6.
Now watch the right tackle here. See, he's just getting drove right back into the backfield, and nearly, you can see Pierre Thomas is nearly tackled in the backfield by Jeremy Mincy. It was Mincy who beat Streif to get the hit on Drew Brees on the previous possession.
Pete Carmichael calling the plays as Mark Ingram takes this one off the left side. Ahead to the 24-yard line. They're a yard shy of the first down after a gain of 3.
Carmichael calling the plays in place of Sean Payton in the year-long suspension. This is nothing new because Carmichael did call plays at times last year during the season while Sean Payton was convalescing after the leg injury.
Third down and just under a yard to go for the first down. These are the tough yards that you expect Ingram to get, and he apparently has it at the first down marker.
And right now, I'd have to say, you can see they do get the first down. Ingram's very good at sniffing out that first down marker. The offensive line, I know Coach Carmichael's going to look at this when he look at the tape. The offensive line is a little bit overwhelmed right now, not playing as good as we're used to seeing this offensive line play.
So the Saints with a Louisiana Seafood first down operate from the 25. Out of the shotgun, Breeze. And on the curl, the pass is caught for a first down by Henderson. Devery cradles it at the 38-yard line. Ross the stop. A 12-yard gain.
The offensive line must be paying attention. They must have heard because they had great protection for Drew Brees that time as he found Devery Henderson in that secondary.
Time for our LSU Alumni Spotlight, sponsored by the Cook Hotel and Conference Center at LSU. And Devery Henderson, the man. Everyone remembers that big catch in Kentucky that he had, probably better on the deep ball than just about any receiver the Saints have had in a long, long while. There he is again, right on cue, this time with a quick out. And he picks up 2 yards out of bounds at the 40-yard line.
But Mincy, the defensive end for Jacksonville, is a thorn in the Saints' side. He puts pressure in the face of Drew Brees. Brees has to loft this ball over the outstretched arms of 94. Look at this. And so you can see that ball's in the air. That's the reason why Henderson catches it, steps out of bounds before he can create more yards after the catch.
Everyone in front of Mincy is moving backwards, aren't they?
Oh, he is giving them fits right now.
On second down, out of the shotgun, Drew to Colston, first down at the 44 of Jacksonville. Juan Landry with a stop, a 15-yard gain.
Well, there's nothing wrong with number 9. Look at the protection. When you give him time to throw the ball, you give him a window to fit that ball in, he's going to get it to his intended receiver. So really good protection. It all starts up front with the offensive line. You protect the quarterback, Drew Brees. He's going to make some plays and find the open guy. That time he found Marcus Colston.
Twin tight ends for the Saints. Drew is now 7 of 10 for 89 yards. And he'll audible. And the out pattern caught by Henderson. Steps out just shy of the 36 of Jacksonville. Saints had a 67-yard drive to open this game. Had to settle for a field goal after a tipped ball at the line of scrimmage and an incomplete pass for Graham. And since then, they have sputtered. And this is a very important drive for Joe Vitt's team. And I know for Drew Brees, as sort of a coach on the field, this series means a lot to him. Ingram back in at running back. Play fake to him. Right there on the button. Caught by Colston. Inside the 10, down to the 8.
If you're questioning Pete Carmichael and his ability to call plays and design plays, question it no longer. This is a perfectly designed play to allow Colston to get behind the secondary. And you can see Lance Moore, he lifts the secondary, creating room underneath for Colston to catch that ball and then run with it. I thought it was well designed, well executed. Now let's watch him inside the Slap Your Mama red zone.
Yes, indeed. The Slap Your Mama Cajun seasoning red zone it is. And Pierre Thomas back in the backfield. Again, looking for the post corner. Is it caught? Yes, it is. Touchdown. Devery Henderson. The 8-yard touchdown strike pulls the Saints to within 8.
It's too much for William Middleton in coverage. Look at this. Back shoulder throw. One-hand grab to perfection by Devery Henderson. And what you saw in those sequence of plays is the things that have made the Saints offense so great over the last few years. Great protection for Drew Brees, laser lock passing from the quarterback, excellent receiving with hands from Henderson and Colston.
The previous play is under review.
Well, this only enables us to take another couple of looks at perfection in throwing the post corner route and a one-handed grab by Devery Henderson.
Now he has to maintain that catch and see the ball, the tip of the ball touched the ground. And they're going to go back and look and say, well, did that ball move? Even though he caught it, he has to maintain perfect possession of the ball without the ball moving once he makes contact with the ground. Now let's see if there's movement in the ball in his hand once he makes contact with the ground. See, there's ball movement. Ball touches the ground. It wobbled slightly. I could see where they would overturn this based on the letter of the law on that ruling. This one may be coming back, even though it's a great catch.
It is.
By Henderson.
It is.
Look, he's fighting off the defender with one arm, making the catch with the right arm. And seeing that ball moved ever so slightly once he made contact with the ground, in so much that the ball came loose and touched the ground.
You can have contact with the ball, even though the tip does touch the ground. But the question becomes that movement. That movement right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The jostling of the ball constitutes an incompletion.
That was, if it holds up, a beautiful drive. As we said, all systems go for Drew on that series. 6 of 6, 74 yards and a touchdown on that drive.
I can tell you right now, I think it's an almost impossible catch.
Yeah.
That Henderson made on the ball. He's fighting off the defender with one hand, his left hand, and then hauled it in with his right hand. And then he hits the ground with that collision. To be able to hold on to that ball as perfectly as you have to complete that pass is nearly impossible.
That was William Middleton that was offering the defense, the corner, 29 for Jacksonville. Well, join us at the 16th annual Vicari Classic and Muscle Car Auction during the Cruise on the Coast, October 12th and 13th. That's at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum in beautiful Biloxi, Mississippi. Visit VicariAuction.com for details. Now, this is a little more difficult, a review process. I get that. And
well,
this one,
there's a lot to look at.
Yeah,
there's
there
a lot to look at, and obviously you're going to look at that one frame by frame. But remember, the rule is you have to maintain possession of the ball even after having a collision with the ground, and the ball can't move, can't be jostled loose. Any rotation of the ball or movement of the ball, as you can see right there, it's allowed to hit the ground. However, if the ball jostles or moves, then they're going to rule it as an incompletion.
I believe all of our friends that are officials and have done this in the past would say, if you're exercising it by the letter of the law, Solomon, that's not a catch.
And it's not because the ball hit the ground, which by law it's allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But if there's any jostling of the ball, once you have that collision with the ground, that ball moves in any way, shape, or form, they're going to rule it to be an incompleted pass.
For the replacement officials, this one's a big one. It is.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Wow. Well, I'm shocked.
Yeah, and I'm shocked too. And that is open to interpretation. We thought we saw movement.
Yeah, we did.
Clearly, the officials said there was no movement.
Devery's smiling.
Yeah, he's got that. He's got that look like he knows something we don't.
As I mentioned, Drew 6 of 6 on that drive for 74 yards. All systems were go. And now John Casey is on to add the extra point. Daniel with the hold. So number 9 got what he needed out of that series.
So you can sit him down now and bring in Chase Daniel, who's only completed 73% of his passes during the preseason. He's looked better playing during the preseason. There has been no doubt about it. They've even allowed him to play some with the number 1 offensive line. And this is what Breeze wanted to accomplish, going 6 for 6, 74 yards on the drive, and then getting his first touchdown pass here in the preseason.
There's our Rouse's Market scoring drive. Breeze hit with all of those completions, Henderson or Colston. It was really their series in so many respects. You know, 6 passes that were complete. Now let's take a look at the Saints' upcoming schedule, brought to you by Calco Hotard Group.
Well, that's 2 really good offenses when you take on the Houston Texans.
We'll take a break next week as that game will be on the network. And Tennessee Titans action comes your way on August 30th from Nashville, and Solomon and I will be on hand for that, along with Mike Neighbors and our CST crew, to close out the 2012 preseason, all getting ready for the opener September 9th when RG3 and the Redskins come a-calling to open the regular year.
How about this? This new defense by Steve Spagnuolo. They get to start the season going up against RG3 and Cam Newton. You better be ready. Better have your head on the swivel. Both quarterbacks can sling it, and they can break you down running the ball with their legs.
The last game of the season, of course, will be here in the Superdome. And a lot of these fans are hoping the Saints are part of that as Jalen Parmalee takes a knee. And don't forget, coming up at halftime, highlights and stats from our Louisiana Cat studios. Eric Ritchie and Victor Howell will be along. It was a very unsettled first half in many respects. They could feel a little better about things off of that last drive. But Mincy was giving Zach Strief all kinds of trouble in the first half and got to Drew Brees, and I think caused a lot of concern before the touchdown drive.
Even earlier on that drive, Mincy was wreaking havoc. They were able to overcome it, and the offensive line solidified itself and was able to create a scoring drive.
Gabbert remains in at quarterback for Jacksonville, and that pass is knocked away, and they're going to flag Will Herring.
Now I've got problems with this because that was perfect coverage by Herring. And you need to understand the rules at this level. Now watch him. He doesn't go through. See, he just comes right over the top.
54 defense.
No,
ball replaces spotted foul, automatic first down.
That's a clean play. You're allowed to make contact. You can touch his back, the back of Mercedes Lewis. You can't interrupt or disrupt his ability to make the catch. That was perfect coverage by Herring. Great timing coming over with one arm to bat that ball down.
1st and 10 after the flag. Gabbert with the pocket coming down, hits Blackman. Boy, he's got some Velcro hands, doesn't he? As he just reels that one in. He's a very strong receiver. Corey White was there to provide coverage. Already 1 touchdown catch for the rookie from Oklahoma State.
You know, Gabbert is showing us, I think, good pocket presence. Something we didn't see from him on a consistent basis during his rookie campaign 1 year ago. He's already improved. He has better wide receivers like a Justin Blackman. Lauren Robinson comes over as an unrestricted free agent from the Dallas Cowboys. Putting better weapons around Gabbert, I think, makes for a much improved season during his 2nd year.
Gabbert now with 100 yards passing and a couple of touchdowns, 11 of 13. He lost this one deep and incomplete. Ron Robinson on we have another flag, and they're going to whistle Corey White for this one.
Are you kidding me? I don't know how this is pass interference. I don't want to be overly, offensive to the officials, but no way.
Pass interference, 24 defense. Ball replaces spotted foul.
No way.
First down.
That is a phantom foul there.
I'm sorry, no way. First of all, that ball appeared to be uncatchable in the fact that it's overthrown. And you're allowed to use the arm bar in the National Football League as long as you don't pull or tug at the wide receiver. But you can have that arm bar to feel where he is.
Coming down to the 2-minute warning now as Gabbert sets up shop at the 40-yard line. To be the final play before the 2-minute warning. And it's Jennings who burrows ahead for about 3. Takes it to the 37-yard line after a gain of 3. This is one that just absolutely should not have been called.
That's a 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning.
Use of the arm bar is allowed in the National Football League.
I know what you're saying. What's it like outside, Timmy B? What's it like inside? Well, I got it for you. Brought to you by Rouse's Markets. And it is, 79 outside, 72 inside. Pretty humid outside, not so much indoors. I got a chance of rain, 50%. A little moisture, not so much in here. Which is one of the reasons why you bring the Super Bowl to the Superdome, Solomon. And you're looking at a man right now that is saying to himself,
seething.
He is like, are you kidding me?
He's watched pass interference on Will Herring. In my humble opinion, should not have been called. And then the one on Corey White. Clearly, the use of the arm bar I thought was good and legal in that case. Pass was clearly overthrown. And during that commercial break, Joe Vitt spent a lot of time talking to the officials. I think there was some education going on there.
Remember that old NFL Films routine with Lou Saban? They're killing me, Whitey. They're killing me. Yeah, I think he was feeling that way at the time. 2nd and 7 for the Jaguars. They have looked very good tonight. Quick out pattern for Thomas. He's been very active both in special teams and as a wide receiver. Caduce with the stop. Youngster out of Fordham. They've had so many finds out of places like Fordham and Williamsburg State through the years. The New Orleans Saints getting quality talent as free agents and late round draft picks out of relatively obscure collegiate programs. But that is a first down for Jacksonville at the 28-yard line of the Saints. Clock ticking, under 2. Jennings on the delay. Another missed tackle. Make that 2 on this play. And Jennings is taken out by Caduce again at the 23-yard line.
And number 40, the safety, Jonathan Amaya, he was the blitzing safety. Had a wonderful opportunity to create a tackle for a loss in the backfield. And then Elbert Mack, 44, he's going to miss as well, right there. The 2 missed tackles on the same play. They're having a tough time getting Jennings on the ground. This Saints defense has missed 9 tackles in the first half.
A lot of film room work for Steve Spagnuolo.
How about just tackling one?
As camp is, that's right, as camp is breaking this week. Jennings has 10 carries for 62 yards, leading rusher of the night. Gabbert, boy, that was pretty well thrown between a couple of defenders, but not reeled in. Might have been a little bit behind the intended receiver, Mike Thomas.
One thing that you got to like about Blaine Gabbert, when he decides to fire it in there, boy, can he burn it.
Gary Pinko loved him at Missouri. They always get great quarterbacks there. And think about Chase Daniel, and now they've got the Franklin kid. Now you see the numbers on Gabbert for tonight. 12 of 15, 109 yards.
He's looked good.
Third down and 5 out of the shotgun. Thomas again. He stretches for the first down marker. I think he may have it. Well, they may really just a little short. Got a left foot spot. Elbert Mack with the stop. Looks like it's going to be 4th down.
Watch Gabbert. He knows he's going to get hit, but he fires it anyway.
Jacksonville. That's a first charge timeout.
Junior Gillette came.
30-second timeout.
Junior Gillette came right up the pipe, right in the face of the young quarterback, Blaine Gabbert. Anytime you see young quarterbacks staring down the gun with that blitzer coming right in his face and still completing passes, now you're seeing growth, you're seeing development from Blaine Gabbert.
Does appear short by about a half yard, the dreaded left foot mark from the line judge. Well, don't miss season-long Saints coverage right here on CST with post-game coverage on game days at 10:30 Central on Saints Tonight Live from the Louisiana Cat Studios. Thursday, watch Outside the Huddle featuring the Saints in the community, and we'll bring you live coverage of the Monday morning coaches press conference the day after each game at 11:30. CST is your regional sports network, home for the New Orleans Saints. Well, they may be reviewing the spot, perhaps. That's at this rate, we may be reviewing halftime before we get to halftime. That's got to be what they're reviewing, I would gather, is where the actual spot was located. He went down with his left arm before he stretched with his right with the ball in his hand. I've got to believe that's what they're looking for here. See, right there and then that.
He had a hand down, but a hand down isn't a knee down.
That's right.
So you can see his knee was not down. The elbow does constitute a knee. How about that?
That's right.
The hand does not. The elbow does.
Well, if you take that into account, the left foot, and I've always said this in calling games, if you get the left foot spot, you're always short. You get the right foot spot, you always have the first down.
Depends on what side they come in.
Sort of in the play-by-play encyclopedia. You know what I mean? But the reason why he got the left foot mark was because that left arm, right, the elbow went down, and it was the left elbow, and that's when the spot occurred.
So now he's live.
Right
then
there.
elbow down, see ball down.
See?
So even though he stretched forward to get the ball a little bit further, but once that elbow down, that's where you have to mark the ball.
I know I'm going inside play-by-play baseball on you here.
Elbow down, even though the ball isn't down. And so he's not going to be given the full measure.
So he should not have the first down. The spot, the original spot, should be accurate. But that's been always sort of the play-by-play edict. If you get a left foot spot, you're almost always going to be short.
What's the percentage on that when you go with that scenario?
I'd say it's 75 to 80% for guys like us anyway.
Who's counting? Who's doing the tabulation?
The ruling on the field stands. 4th down, Jacksonville.
Well, we got that one right.
There you go. There you go.
I'm 1 in a row now.
We didn't need the replay. We didn't need to explain the elbow down. Just your theory on right foot, left foot spotting.
I always remember years when Chris Schenkel always said it's a left foot spot, bud. Keith Jackson would always tell Frank Broyles, oh, it's a left foot spot. No, it's a left foot spot. 4th down and a yard to go. The Jaguars will go for it. Jennings stopped, stoned at the line of scrimmage.
If they get the stop here on 4th down, you see Hicks, the big stalwart defensive tackle, 3rd-round pick. 6'5", 325. He gets penetration. They'll feel better about themselves in that film room you talked about, Timmy B, if they come away with a stop here. Poor tackling on the day, giving up a lot of plays, but to get this one,
he didn't get it.
They'll feel good about themselves. And we can see that provided a little spark for the defensive football team.
Martez Wilson, 95. I think that quickness off the line of scrimmage helped that time.
But Hicks was eating up some bodies. Allowing Wilson to come in and make a play. And now we get Chase Daniel.
Bill Johnson, the defensive line coach for the Saints, has got to be pretty pleased with his team's effort there. The old Northwestern State Demon. With a little bit of push. Here's Chase Daniel with his first action. And we've got flags down as Traveris Cadet takes the screen. Goes out to the 37-yard line, but again, we'll check the flag down where Chase Daniel is located. In an area where roughing the passer could be the call. He got hammered.
There you can see, and then there's a hit, the low hit on the leg. There's the flag. Can't
Personal
do it.
foul, roughing the passer. 90, defense. 15 yards to the end of the run, automatic 1st down.
Andre Branch, the guilty party, and Andy Tanner is down. Number 14 for the Saints.
See what happened. We talked about it being Tanner time. Doing practice during the week. They're checking out his left leg. You see it right here.
Oh, they roll over it.
Oh,
yeah,
my goodness.
sure
yeah,
did.
that's that left leg, and
Oh,
that's
boy.
so unfortunate.
Oh,
That's really an unfortunate
man,
moment.
he's just been such an inspiration throughout the entire training camp, and as he was a year ago, when you think about it, a young man out of Midwestern State. He had so many outstanding catches in the game in Canton against the Cardinals. Let's hope he is okay. Very popular player in the Saints locker room. Mike Neighbors is down there. Mike?
That's right, guys. Andy Tanner has really been an inspiration to a lot of guys, and we've seen it every year with the Saints, an unknown coming out of nowhere to try to make this football team. He was cut from the practice squad 13 times. This is his 3rd year with the Saints as a free agent, a guy who wasn't drafted coming out, but all he has done is catch the football, and that's made him very popular and inspirational to guys, and everybody on the sidelines is feeling for him right now.
All right, Mike, thanks for that Capital One Bank sideline report.
Yeah, both Tavares Cadet and Paul Puslusny, both players. The weight of both players rolled up on that left leg of Tanner.
Please reset the clock to 43 seconds. 43 seconds, please.
And Tim, right now, we have 2 Missouri Tiger quarterbacks playing in this game. And
Yeah.
Chase Daniel had preceded Blaine Gabbert at Missouri. And both players had really wonderful, remarkable careers
Please
there.
reset the game clock to 43 seconds.
So they're going to add a couple of extra seconds here to the game clock. Moye is coming to the game now for Tanner. 84, he's up at the top of your screen. Daniel remains in with Traveris Cadet the lone setback. He's the receiver here with flags down again. And Poslusny makes the stop of Cadet at the 47-yard line. We'll have to check the flag. Holding, the preliminary indication against New Orleans.
Holding, 72, offense. 10 yards from the screen spot. Complete 1st down.
Yeah, that's boy, there's going to be a lot of concern over that young man, and understandably so. You're always it's always difficult to see anyone get injured at any time, but particularly as popular a figure as Andy Tanner has been. First-year player out of 1 year out of Midwestern State. That pass was incomplete as Moye cut off the route, and it was overthrown by Chase Daniel.
Remember, we talked about the battle for that 4th wide receiver position vacated by Robert Meacham, who left to San Diego as an unrestricted free agent. We said that Courtney Roby was the leader in the clubhouse. Arrington and the rookie Nick Toon have missed significant time due to injuries. And look, Tanner's the guy next in line had been battling, as well as Morgan.
Roby is in the game, and Daniel again checks it off and goes to Cadet. This is one of the things I love about Traveris Cadet, Solomon, is his ability to catch passes coming out of the backfield. Saints take their timeout with 26 seconds remaining.
And, you know, we talk about that fourth wide receiver position. They're going to keep, as many as 5. Traditionally, that's what they've done, to leave them, because they'll often play with 4 at one time. So you're going to need 5. And we thought Tanner would have been a great fit. Now they're going to need Toon and Arrington to recover from their injuries and get back on the field.
And if you think of Cadet, what he brings to the table, his ability as a receiver, if he's going to make this team, it's probably at the expense of Chris Ivory, who I think when you look at experience, a tough runner, a guy that's been able to take over at midseason, Cadet should play football somewhere.
He's a different kind of player from the others.
Yeah,
even though we know Sproles is absolutely great catching the ball out of the backfield, but Cadet brings some of that with him.
Third down. And Daniel is sacked. That's a lot of pressure coming straight up the gut. Andre Branch, Jeremy Mincy, all of them there.
They blocked no one. This is what we call a jailbreak run to the quarterback. Look, all blue jerseys penetrating, and he was hit hard, and the ball came out. He was lucky to fall on it.
That was an Andre Branch, Jeremy Mincy sandwich of Chase Daniel. Wow. They arrived simultaneously to close out the half, and Chase is feeling the effects of it as he heads to the locker room for halftime. 17-10 is our score at the break. A very difficult start for the Saints defensively. New Orleans did pick it up offensively late in the second quarter. Enjoy halftime. Saints preseason football on Cox Sports Television is brought to you by Golden Flake, the South's original potato chip since 1923. Valero, keeping America moving. Heineken, serving the Big Easy. Crystal Hot Sauce, discover amazing taste in your favorite food. Crystallize it. Louisiana Seafood, demand it. And by Cox, the official telecommunications partner for the New Orleans Saints. Actual data to prove that no one watches more preseason football for their home team than New Orleanians and Gulf Coast fans of the Saints. And at halftime, the Jacksonville Jaguars lead it 17-10. Tim Brando, Solomon Wilcots, Mike Neighbors. Let's look back at that first half. Wasn't as good as certainly a lot of the homestanding fans would have liked.
Real shaky start for both the offense and the defense, but you have to admit that by the time you got into the second quarter, both the offense under Drew Brees really got it together. He got his first touchdown pass of the preseason. The defense also improved their tackling. They get the stop on fourth down, so you can feel that it was a slow start for a really good football team that played better in the second quarter.
Let's revisit your Eric Hill Nissan keys to the game.
Well, we said that an angry Drew Brees was a dangerous Drew Brees, and boy did he get angry after that one turnover on the hit by Mincy, and then he takes his team right down the field going 10 of 13, did get the touchdown pass, and then the defense. I think Junior Gillette has done a really good job of getting pressure, but they do need to play better run defense here in the second half.
All right, let's go down to Mike Neighbors now and get another Capital One Bank sideline report.
Tim Brando, the Olympics are history, but believe it or not, the Saints did spend their fair share of time watching the Olympics over the past couple of weeks. Now, 4 years ago, we took a poll among many Saints, and we asked them who would make the best Olympian, meaning the best athlete. In a landslide, it was Scott Fujita. 4 years later, we did the same thing. The race, a little bit tougher. We had names like Martez Wilson. Colston actually voted for punter Thomas Morstead. In the end, it all came down to Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham, and Graham is this year's best Olympian. Now, I asked Drew Brees about it. He said, well, he is a better athlete, but maybe we need to do a 10-event Olympiad. I asked Graham about that, and he said, I'm not going to tug on Superman's cape. I think I'll let him win. Giving new meaning to the words Golden Graham, I guess. Back to you guys in the Capital One Bank broadcast booth.
Way to go, Mike.
Well done.
6'7", 265. Yeah, he get an onside kick to start the second half.
A quasi Sean Payton Super Bowl move by Mike Mularkey, and it worked. Green is on top of it for the Jaguars. Wow, how about that? Our Roush's Market second half kickoff turns into a Scobie onside kick that is recovered by Courtney Green, 4 years out of Rutgers, and no one saw that one coming.
Not in the preseason.
No.
Just don't expect it. But nonetheless, if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, you're Mike Mularkey, you're doing everything you can to prepare your football team, what we call situational football. Some of these things have to be done to help your team to understand that every situation is vitally important.
Chad Henne is in at quarterback now for the Jaguars. And the veteran hands it off to Keith Tustin, Oklahoma State. And there you see he's ahead for a couple of yards on that play. And there you see the possession chart. Touchdown on 9 plays, 80-yard drive, just a thing of beauty for Blaine Gabbert.
The key is they scored on 3 of the 5 possessions.
That's right.
And only losing ball on downs at the end when they couldn't convert that fourth down play.
Should mention that Tostin is in the game, 43 in running back. Keith Tostin, young man out of Oklahoma State. And he'll tote it again. Ahead for about another yard. Should be 3rd down and 7 coming up. Gabbert ends the evening, 13 of 16 for 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. A very good halves play for him as he now leaves it for Chad Henne the rest of the way.
And you talk about the onside kick. If you take a look at Gabbert, Jacksonville touched that ball before it rose 10 yards. Would have been the Saints' ball.
Well, a lot of pressure that time coming inside from New Orleans. Big number 75 lumbering through there to give them some pressure.
It's got to go 10 yards. Okay, he touched it, he kicked it, but it was after 10 yards.
Yeah.
He can touch it after 10 yards. You can't touch it before the 10-yard roll.
Tyron Walker, 75, was the guy that gave pressure for the Saints on that last play, the 3rd pressure of the night. Yeah, they would have had to have asked for it. And it is now a 4th down in a punt formation now coming up for Jacksonville. Travaris Cadet is back deep. And they pooch it, and a fair catch is called for, and Cadet takes it at the 13-yard line. 32-yard boot. So they get the onside, but do nothing with it. Saints backup defense got the job done. We'll be back. It's all about great taste, quality, and tradition, so demand it at restaurants, your local grocer, and even at home. You'll be supporting the local economy and the hardworking men and women who help bring Louisiana seafood to happy tables around the world. Louisiana seafood, demand it, Shad. You got that? Picked up on that share at the end of that, did you?
I didn't pick up on that, but I picked up on all the food here. I am loving it. I'm loving my. Now, if I could get dinner with my co-host here, my play-by-play guy,
yes,
then, it'd be a perfect world.
You saw the possession chart for the first half. They're trying to improve it in the second. And Daniel rolling out and finding a little space to throw it to Michael Higgins and the Nebraska Omaha star. They even dropped the program just a couple of years ago at that school, but not before that young man got out.
And boy,
so looked good at camp.
And I'm sure Higgins is noticed. You know, this team went out during the week. They signed 11-year veteran tight end Daniel Graham, who's an excellent player. He's won Super Bowls with the New England Patriots. And so I'm sure Higgins understands that he's better get cracking.
Here's Ivory off the left side. He's ahead to the 31, 32-yard line. I touched on this towards the end of the first half. Chris Ivory has overcome injury. He's played in this league during the regular season. Key first down carries, key 100-yard plus performances. And he has been pushed somewhat by this year's star of the preseason to this point, Travaris Cadet.
And Ivory's got to do a better job of holding on to the ball. He's got to do a better job of staying healthy. More importantly, he's got to create big plays. That's something Cadet has done in the offense, and Ivory hasn't.
Chase Daniel calls the timeout.
Timeout, New Orleans.
17-10, the Jaguars have the lead. Chase Daniel would like to have one of those drives like number 9 had towards the end of the first half. There's fantasy football, and then there's legit fantasy football. NFL.com Fantasy offers a legit NFL managed league with free live scoring and instant video highlights. Go legit. Sign up for free at NFL.com/fantasy. After the timeout by Daniel, second down, he'll come out with a shotgun formation. And again, he finds Higgins. Running a little curl right in front of him, shy of the first down by 2 yards. The stop made by J.K. Schaefer, the backup middle linebacker, to Buzz Leslie.
Chase Daniels now in his 4th year out of Missouri. And you can just see the confidence that he has, the precision. He went through his progression, 1, 2, 3, ball out of his hand. Higgins was his 3rd guy in the progression, but still getting the ball out of his hands quickly for a completion.
Daniel is 4 of 5 for 49 yards. The quick pitch is to Cadet. And Traveris horse-collared out of bounds at the 47-yard line. That's a first down for the Saints. Schaefer again, number 50, making the stop.
Watch big 71, Charles Brown, getting the block, setting it up, and then getting downhill.
59 is Schaefer, I beg your pardon.
Timed up the block perfectly, did Cadet. And you can see when he gets the ball, he's producing more explosive plays, more positive plays running the ball than Chris Ivory, who's in the game now.
And this Louisiana Seafood first down has the Saints at the 47-yard line. Daniel with all kinds of time to a wide open Joseph Morgan, touchdown. 53 yards.
Well, I got to tell you, Timmy B, somewhere Sean Payton is smiling. you know he's got to love that one because it was so well designed, so well set up. Look, hard play fake, roll to the backside now, patiently waiting. The ball movement allows more time in protection, and no one is close to Morgan. And we can name guys that he beat, but he beat the entire defense, all 11. No one was close to Morgan. By design, Morgan was allowed to get wide open.
Yeah, that's one of those receptions, Solly, that...
yeah, you do nothing as a player.
Yeah.
You just run. The play design, it allows you to get open.
I mean, that's like a busted coverage in college. Your eyes are just wide open, right?
Some of the hardest ones to catch, though.
Yeah. Well, one Missouri quarterback's already had a good night. Chase Daniel just added to it. A little show me. And Sean says, do your job. I think they just did. We're tied. Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Can you hear me now on play-by-play? Our microphone is working, I'm told, although I can't hear it. Okay, well, we're on our way. We'll do the best we can, even though we can't hear ourselves. We're having some technical difficulties in our truck. Our apologies to those of you at home, but we're doing our best to work it all out. Chad Henne at quarterback. That pass is caught by the wide receiver, number 84, Cecil Shorts, a youngster out of Mount Union that the Jaguars are very high on coming out of this camp. There's Joseph Morgan coming off a wonderful drive. 5 plays, 86 yards, 2:22 off the clock. Our Rouse's scoring drive. Chase Daniel was 3 of 3 for 74 yards on that drive.
And how about Pete Carmichael designing plays in the way that we would all be proud? I'm sure Sean Payton proud as well. I think they're in good hands with him as a play caller.
Cecil Shorts again on the receiving end with a marker down at the 26-yard line. Yeah, you know, you think back about the opportunities that were afforded Pete Carmichael last year when Peyton got hurt. No one knew at the time how much that experience gained would be ultimately to his advantage as it is this year.
And I think they'll be in good hands. You know, Joe Vitt has to serve out his suspension after the
Offside.
preseason.
44, defense. 5 yards, still second down.
And no matter who will be the second interim coach when Vitt goes to serve out his suspension, I think if you compartmentalize it and you look at Pete Carmichael as the coach of the offense and Spags as the coach of the defense, you can see how the team can still thrive in such a tough situation.
Toston is the I-back. And he'll take it off the left-hand side. Should have the first down beyond the 30 to the 32-yard line. Not quite 5 minutes gone by here in the third quarter of our game. The Saints have tied it at 17. The ball is at the 31-yard line. Well, I think I just heard myself, Solomon. So we may be. Now, here's the good news. We can hear one another. But now
better.
we can also hear our producer. That's
Not so good.
Chad Henne with the play fake, and he is looking long. Incomplete, intercepted. Corey White or Albert Mack tipped it, and it's picked off by Caduce. Wow.
Great play by Albert Mack. He gets his head around and finds the ball. And the officials are letting him play because I thought it was a good play by Mack as he gets his head around. And he's going to tip it, and then Caduce comes away with the interception.
I think that may have hit the helmet. I believe Mack's helmet.
Just as he turned around. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did right off the dome.
Brian Robisky was the intended receiver. Of course, played in this building in the 2007 National Championship game. The BCS title game was won by LSU against Ohio State. Of course, his dad was a player at LSU many years ago, and a great one. Now, coaching in the NFL has been for many years. And here is Cadet. And this is, again, another one of those runs that reminds me a little bit of Pierre Thomas, the year he was an undrafted free agent, and he just managed to find his way on the team when Pittman was a fourth-round pick and would later be cut. That's a 9-yard gain for Traveris as he gets it beyond the 40-yard line. I think it's going to be really, really difficult for Turk to ever come calling for him.
And all Pierre Thomas did, he gets to start the final game of the regular season up in Chicago.
That's right.
Sets an NFL record, 100 yards receiving, 100 yards rushing in a single game.
2nd and 1. Now it's Ivory's turn. He says, I'll see you and I'll raise you.
I love competition, TB, and that's what Mickey Loomis wants. This is a good football team. You're going to have to cut a really good football player because look at Chris Ivory, the way he comes in, he notices all the attention going towards Tavares Cadet, and he knows that he has to turn heads in his direction by making plays.
An 11-yard gain for him. Back in the I formation again. Saints are in that downhill run mode. And that's when Drew Brees told us, Terrence Knighton made that stop, number 96. This is when the Saints offense by design is at its best, when they are running downhill.
Yes. And you know why? Everything comes off of it, the play action. It was a play action reverse bootleg on the long throw to Joe Morgan that set up the touchdown. Everything comes off their ability to have the power run game working inside.
There's
Another
the play fake.
action.
Yeah, the play fake again. This time, crossing pattern to Morgan, another first down. To the 37-yard line of Jacksonville.
And so when you're running the ball very effectively, the linebackers have to be active. Look at all the linebackers suck up to the line of scrimmage. That's why there's room at the second level of the defense. You draw those linebackers close to the line of scrimmage, and now the secondary defenders have a very difficult time. There's more room for Chase Daniel to complete that pass.
Ivory, little stutter step.
Impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. And he burrows down near the 30-yard line. Watch this little stutter step maneuver, what it does.
Look at this. He's finding the hole. And then look at it. He's set up the block by Higgins, number 81. And then he's able to draw defenders out of position, creates a better blocking angle for Higgins, and the hole opened up. Great patience, good footwork, good body lean, good read up front.
From the 31. Look out for Morgan again. Markers down. Daniel decides to run. Tuckett, boy, Morgan was absolutely running free, but Chase could not find him because of the pressure. Corey Hall, it appears, may be guilty of the holding. Backup running back number 35. Trying to pick up some of that coverage.
You see him right there. That's a hold.
Yeah.
You're holding, and you still can't keep you from getting close to the quarterback, but Hall's extremely guilty.
Holding, 65, offense. 10 yards to the single spot will be second down.
They said it was Matt Tennant, but clearly it was 35, more than 65.
This copyrighted telecast of Saints football may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the New Orleans Saints and Cox Sports Television. Rivera's Cadet back into the game. Quick out. Pass is caught by Schumann. And he is greeted by a host of Jaguars, beginning with Kozinski, number 42, the free safety. Derek, 6'2", 225, young man from Boise State, 5 years out of there. And the Superdome's got the midway through third quarter wave working. Once again proving that it's still not completely out of our pop culture. Third down, out of the shotgun. Daniel trying to keep this drive alive. Here's where his maneuverability can really help. And he did make the choice to find Higgins. He's shy of the first down. But he may have been out of bounds when he caught this ball and gotten away with it. Let's see.
Take a look, but 1 foot in, second foot out of bounds. That's an incomplete pass. At least it should be.
Yeah. I think they may have just ruled it that way. A late decision.
But we have a fourth down. Chase Daniel looks like he's staying in the huddle.
There was some confusion over whether that pass was, I think, complete or incomplete. As far as it was ruled incomplete, but it was
the way it's been spotted.
Yeah,
it's been spotted as if it is complete.
Away game, offense. Number 10, 5 yards, fourth down.
Well, they're trying to. If you're the Saints and Joe Vinny, try to figure out was it complete or incomplete. They didn't know.
Well, I didn't either. I mean, it was a late decision in determining whether it was incomplete.
But look where the ball was spotted previously.
It was.
The ball was spotted as if it was a completed pass.
It absolutely was.
And so they were trying to figure out what they were going to do based on the call.
And the play clock was moving because of it. This is another example of what can happen when you have replacement officials.
Yeah, the ball now is spotted as if the pass was incomplete.
Absolutely.
So the officials, I think, gave them a false reading, a false signal, by improperly spotting the ball.
Yeah, it took 10 to 12 seconds away from the Saints in that sequence. Otherwise, they were going to be penalized. And now another flag flies.
Go ahead, game. Offense. Number 6. 5 yards. Still fourth down.
And that time it was well earned.
Yeah.
It was well earned.
Listen, I don't want it to seem as though we are coming down too hard on the replacement officials. They're doing all that they can. They didn't ask to be in this situation, but they are. But I think what we're learning tonight, and listen, there are some regular officials that could screw up whether the ball was down by contact or not, or a fumble here or a fumble there. That could happen. But we have seen just an inordinate number of stoppages of play, reviews when maybe reviews under the hood were not needed. It has been highly noticeable tonight that these are replacements. And I think it's something the league is going to have to address very quickly. Now that punt is going to be stopped inside the 10. Elbert Mack got down there to beat it. That was an athletic play after a 43-yard boot.
But you know, it's preseason for officials too, just like it's preseason for players, right?
Sure it is, yeah. And for technicians and producers and announcers, all of us. We'll be right back. Tonight's third quarter is brought to you by Verizon. Well, the Oshner Saints Back to Football 5K is coming up on Saturday, September 8th, benefiting the 2013 New Orleans Super Bowl host committee. The 5K run will start at Champion Square and finish on the 50-yard line inside the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, where you'll be cheered on by the Saintsations. Watch your finish on the big screen as you enter the stadium, and then celebrate with fellow Saints fans at the post-race tailgate party. You don't want to miss it. Go to www.nflrunner.is.com/Saints.
Look at this.
Look at this. Another flag is down as Tostin pops free for a huge gain, and the marker's all the way back inside the 5-yard line as he's hauled down at the 47. It's a 43-yard gain. And it looks like offside.
97. Penalty decline. First down.
Swanson Miller, you're going to get in there. You got to make a play. as he was trying to move back, and that's exactly where it popped.
Yeah.
They had it initially stopped. Then he gets to the outside, but he was getting a little gimpy at the end of that run.
Yes, he was.
Running out of gas.
Didn't expect for it to pop to that extent. Happens from time to time.
And everyone could pull that Tony Dorsett 99-yard run.
Yeah. Leland Parmalee is in the game now. Keem Hicks with the stop of him. This young man, I thought, played very well last week in New England.
Hicks showed very well.
He looked great.
Big body guy, 6'5", 325 pounds, but agile enough, can move very well. Really good player.
2nd and 8. Henny's pass on the quick out pattern is complete right in front of Albert Mack. And it was caught by Brian Robisky.
Good throw, good timing, of course. Really good catch as well.
One of those guys that doesn't have necessarily blinding speed, but understands how to run routes, does Robisky.
But Henny is an experienced quarterback in this league, and he looks the part.
Rolling right this time and going to Clarity, who does have a touchdown catch in tonight's game. That's a gain of 6. Jonathan Amaya made the stop, number 40. You can make a case, without a doubt, that the two quarterbacks that have shined against the Saints for the entire season would be the two playing tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, both
Blaine Gabbert
and Chad Henne. Neither of the Cardinals quarterbacks looked very good. Certainly Tom Brady did not have a very good night, nor did anyone else that was quarterbacking for the New England Patriots. There's Robisky again. He's hauled down at the 20-yard line. Corey White wraps him up. But this is another 15-yard gain, and Jacksonville just surgically in the passing game getting the job done against New Orleans.
Yeah, you're not disappointed. You have to be, I think, anyway, because you've got players like Remy Adele still in the huddle. You've got Martez Wilson, Junior Gillette, players who you expect to be playing on Sundays once we get into the regular season.
Time Martez Wilson moved prematurely. The pass is caught, and a loss on the play as Robisky brought it in, but that's going to be against 95, moving too soon.
Just a lack of focus. We saw him do this last week against the Patriots, cost them on 4th down plays.
Offside, 95, defense. 5 yards, still first down.
And he checks out. The Jaguars have moved back into the red zone, the Slap Your Mama Cajun seasoning red zone at the 15-yard line of the Saints. Parmalee ahead for maybe 2, and a flag comes in.
Flag comes in late.
And Caduce is shaken up. He's wavering off of the field at this stage and going to be replaced by Jericho Nelson. There's Caduce. Well, Golden Flake Snack Foods is powering the CST Twitter account tonight. It's time. We need some better questions. We need to hear from you.
Clipping, 18. Offense, 15 yards.
That's going to go against Robisky, and it's a tough penalty.
Yeah, it's blocking in the back against one of the defensive backs on the perimeter. Not, it's a foul that's unnecessary. You don't even need to block the guy in the back, particularly away from the football.
We'll send those, tweet those questions in or comments at Cox Sports TV, and we'll pick them out and have some fun with it. Powered by Golden Flake Snack Foods. From the 29-yard line. First and a long way to go. Robisky at the bottom of your screen, and he stumbled. That pass is going to be intercepted by White at the 15. That was a bad sequence for Robisky. First the penalty, which was not needed, and then he slipped when making his cut on the out route, which enabled White to come up with it. Now we've got fisticuffs up near the line of scrimmage. Akeem Hicks is involved, Casillas. A few others for the Saints being separated.
Alex Daniels also, but what a play by White. You can see Joe Vince and get back to the huddle, but White in really good coverage, keeps his footing. But how about the presence of mind to get his head around and make a play on the ball, and then the catch for the interception.
That's Henny's second pick. However, I will say this. That one was really more a case of Robisky tripping up, falling down, and it enabled White to come up with the pick. It ends the drive. Saints have it. We're tied at 17, and we're back in review mode. And we're going to show you a couple of looks at this catch. Now, the question is whether he trapped it or not. I submit to you that this is absolutely a catch. Hands underneath it. Cradle, don't see much ball movement there, not from that angle. Here's another one, Solly.
Yeah, I think he gets both hands under the ball.
Yep.
It was ruled a catch, remember, originally. So did you see anything that would allow the officials to overturn the fact that they ruled it a catch initially?
And frankly, the one that the Saints got from Henderson, which was in my mind a lot more not a catch than that, was not overruled because the call was going to stand.
Yeah. I didn't see anything. I didn't see the ball touch the ground. I didn't see movement there. I saw him get his hands underneath the ball, as you indicated, and clearly he hauled it right in.
Yeah,
it was pretty clear.
If you use the Henderson catch as a barometer for whether they would overturn, then I would suggest to you there's no way they overturn that.
But we found that tonight there's been
we've been surprised. We have been.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just saying.
Don't change the channel after the game because we've got in-depth post-game coverage on Saints tonight. The always hard-working Mike Neighbors will bring you one-on-one interviews from the Dome, including our exclusive Drew Brees interview. Victor Howell and Eric Ritchie will break down the game in the Louisiana Cats studios with highlights and more. That's Saints tonight, right after the game, only on CST.
After reviewing the play, the ball hit the ground with foot hitting it on the ground. Therefore, the ruling is reversed.
I told you.
Please reset the clock to 1:54 on the game clock.
I told you. I told you. Don't we've kind of been surprised tonight.
How in the world?
Hands underneath the ball. Ball comes in. Constitutes a catch to me.
How in the world did Devery Henderson get credit for that touchdown? Do you think?
And then this not be a catch?
Yeah, there must have been a memo at halftime, right? There had to be.
Wow.
There had to be. Someone had to explain something to someone after the Henderson catch was ruled a catch for that to not be an interception.
And now sometimes you move, you try to make a correction, you make an overcorrection. But, they're entitled to see it and interpret it the way they see it as well.
It's not their fault. The situation that they're in with replacement officials is not the officials that are on the field right now. It's not their doing. But it's very unfortunate. The game has just been, really, since the second quarter, took such a long period of time. It's been disjointed ever since.
And you have to understand, in the college game, if the ball touched the ground, it's ruled a non-catch.
Oh, sure.
I mean, immediately. Yeah. And then you come to this level, and that doesn't apply here.
We'll go back and look to see where the change should be set.
So we'll stop things all over again.
They're going to go back and say, okay, prior to the non-interception by Corey White, where was the ball set? Where did they snap the ball?
Look at Joe. Yeah. Look at Joe Vitt.
Yeah,
all right, let's show everyone the one that was ruled a catch in the end zone that you and I thought could have very easily been
ball hit and then moves.
Yeah.
And the movement renders it a non-catch, at least
that's
by
ruled,
most of us.
And that was ruled a catch and a touchdown.
That was ruled a catch for a touchdown.
Right. This
one is a clear hand under the ball. Ball never moves, and they said that it was a non-catch, non-interception. So there was definitely what we would call an inconsistency there.
And I don't understand why we're having to find out where the ball was spotted before the interception was thrown. We all know where the line of scrimmage was, and yet here we are again. There's absolutely nothing wrong with where the ball is spotted, and yet they're having to review to find out where the ball should be put. It's on the 29, which is exactly where it is.
They have it spotted.
So let's play ball. I believe that the talking points for this week around the National Football League will very easily be, when will they get the officials, the real officials, set up and ready to go? Because I think a lot of people have said it's been a long time since the NFL, Solomon, have had replacement anything. And when
1987, replacement players. How did that work out?
Didn't go so well.
It did not go so well.
And again, we don't mean to be piling on, but there's just been a lot of inconsistency, and more than anything else, the game has just been so disjointed.
It's a story that we can't ignore, and obviously it's our job to help the viewers to understand what's occurring on the field, and we have to talk about it. This is not about trying to pick on anyone, but to make clear
the down will
what's
be
happening.
2nd and 19.
And they are obviously taught to continue to communicate to all the fans what's going on, but by going through the procedures necessary, it really winds the game down to a snail's pace. Here's Henne again. Flush from the pocket and incomplete. Thrown for Parmalee. Wilson with a lot of pressure. Lawrence Wilson, the middle linebacker, who had an interception, you'll recall, in the Cardinals game in Canton to sort of close that one out a few weeks back.
Now we're 2 hours and 40 minutes into this game. We're still in the third quarter. Most games go 3 hours, okay, unless we get into overtime. Right now, clearly, we're going to go over that 3-hour mark.
The second quarter lasted forever. Henne out of the shotgun. That ball was tipped. Parmalee was the guy that he was shooting for, but I believe it was tipped at the line of scrimmage, too.
There you see the ball. I don't know that it was tipped.
No, it wasn't. Parmalee just missed it.
The intended receiver tipped it
off of his shoulder pad. And now Scobie will try a 47-yard field goal. Brian Anger will hold. He has some leg. He really does. Among the many athletic accomplishments of Josh Scobie, he once won the Tim Brando shootout in my hometown.
It was he and you, right?
No, he was several other sports celebrities were in town. Yeah, for a charity event that PGA golfers Hal Sutton and David Toms had, and I was a part of. And Josh came and played on a Friday prior to.
He's an athlete, isn't he?
He's a great athlete, and I want to say probably a 2 handicap. Wow, he can go. He's got game, as they say. Well, the National Football League Hall of Fame honored Ermani Dawson, among others, in Canton, Ohio. Boy, he was big time, wasn't he? And had a stellar career with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Former teammate of mine in Pittsburgh, and Dirk was always a great player on the field and a great person off of it. 6-time first-team All-Pro, 7 Pro Bowls, and he joined a string of talented centers for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He replaced Webster, Mike Webster, who was also a Hall of Famer. And then, of course, Damani Dawson, so putting together over 20 years of Hall of Fame play at the center position in Pittsburgh.
I got to say this, too. I had a chance to not only visit with, we both visited with Willie Rofe, as you see Tavares Cadet take off, and he stopped at the 23-yard line. I think he may have lost the ball, too. No, he hung on to it, and he's down at the 23-yard line. But this year's Hall of Fame crop was, when you think about it, a bunch of blue-collar guys, a lot of humility, I thought.
And well-deserved. I also played with Chris Dolman in Minnesota, and I was very happy and pleased to see him get it. He was he was one of the quintessential pass rushers in the National Football League. He was phenomenal.
Chris Ivory back in the game behind Corey Holland. He takes off the right side, gets ahead to the 29. Well, just as you mentioned it, there's Dolman. You talk about guys that could give you trouble off the edge.
Oh, yeah. He, at times, he would be unblockable. He was former Defensive Player of the Year. This guy could get after it, and just a true gentleman as well. Look at that, 150 career sacks, 8 Pro Bowls, and look, 8 seasons with 10 sacks or more. I remember having the wrong kind of car up in Minneapolis. I get snowed in. Who picks me up to go to work? Chris Dolman.
Chris Dolman.
What a teammate.
There's Ivory popping outside. He's got a first down. Look at it. This is really interesting to watch how Cadet and Ivory, sort of the game within the game. If you're looking for a roster spot, you're a real fan of the New Orleans Saints, this is fun to watch because these guys are battling for a position, a coveted position on that 53-man roster.
And you don't get to complain, well, I was behind the 3rd offensive line, or you played with the 1st offensive line. You just got to make plays.
6 carries, 34 yards for him, make it 7 now for about 37 after that carry by Chris Ivory.
And here's how it stacks up. You know Darren Sproles is going to make the team. You know Mark Ingram, he's making the team. Pierre Thomas making the team. So who's going to be that 4th running back? Is it going to be Ivory as it was 1 year ago, or will it be Cadet working his way in the lineup during the regular season?
Well, mercifully, it does appear the 3rd quarter is coming to an end. And I believe it was played in less time than the 2nd.
Barely. Just barely.
But we look forward to the 4th quarter. Saints with possession. Chase Daniel coming off a touchdown. Our Rouse's Market score is 20-17. Jacksonville by 3 as we continue from the Superdome right after this. Louisiana seafood is all about great taste, quality, and tradition. So demand it at restaurants, your local grocer, and eat it at home. You'll be supporting the local economy and the hardworking men and women who help bring Louisiana seafood to happy tables around the world. Louisiana seafood. Demand it. That's what we do, and we're so happy to have some Louisiana seafood coming in here as we see Chris Ivory set sail for another first down. He's up to the 49-yard line. Ewell Smith is with us from Louisiana Seafood. I see you brought us some.
Oh, we've got the Louisiana shrimp po' boy sitting on a bed of Leidenheimer French bread.
Oh, wait a minute. That's for me.
A little Louisiana love for you guys.
Well, how does talk about the culture and how it affects the Louisiana culture?
It's everything for us here in Louisiana. You know, the music, the food, the sports is what brings everything together. We got 7 and 8 generations of families in Louisiana that do this. Bringing the seafood. The Superdome's only serving Louisiana seafood, oysters, shrimp, the catfish, the whole 9 yards. And it's important as a as a community that we come together with our fishermen here in Louisiana and our sister states from the other parts of, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, Mississippi, and Alabama. We all work together.
Now, was
the po' boy, is that created here in the state of Louisiana?
Yes, indeed. And
there you go.
And, if you go to Acme, you can get the shrimp and oyster po' boy. It's called a peacemaker later on tonight.
I'm learning something.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Higgins had a catch, and now Ivory has stopped a couple of yards behind the line of scrimmage. But, the fishing industry, Well, it's shrimping, whatever it is. It means everything.
It is everything for Louisiana. It's what brings our families together, just like sports brings our families together.
I love you already.
It's a $2 billion business to us, too. But this is why we're here. But if you guys, we want to end the night strong for you guys.
Oh, this is wonderful.
You go ahead, Saul.
This is great.
Yeah.
You know,
Dig in, guys. Dig in.
Mama taught me not to talk with my mouth full, but I guess I'm going to have to.
this is when we know we have the best job in America. Thank you.
Pleasure, Sal. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys.
The pass is incomplete, the marker down. I don't know that I've ever done play-by-play with food in my mouth, but I was told that I was supposed to do that.
First time for everything. Look at the hands coming in. Now, what about production people? Do they get to eat on the air as well? Patrick Netherton.
Our statistician will be here until dawn. That flag was thrown against the Saints, and Jacksonville will get it now after the punt formation. I thank Ewell for stopping by and not coming empty-handed.
There you go.
Orstad's boot is deep, and a fair catch called for by Cecil Shorts. That's a 42-yard punt. And the Saints will have the Jaguars offense pinned back inside their 10-yard line when we come back. Not a lot of that will be left by the end of this game.
By the end of this break.
I'm just saying, yeah. Fourth quarter tonight, brought to you by Cajun Injector, which seems fitting based on our last segment. So we take a look now at our Window World stats through three quarters. And again, the Saints passing yard certainly picked up after the Morgan touchdown aerial in this half coming from Chase Daniel. Chad Henne remains in for Jacksonville. And there's the quick pitch to Parmalee.
You know, on the non-interception by Corey White, you saw Joe Vitt, saw Bill Johnson, the defensive line coach, just laying into members of the defensive line. There was a sort of a fracas on the other side of the field. And, of course, it showed that they lacked a little discipline. But I think also adding to the frustration for Joe Vitt and Bill Johnson, as you saw from those third quarter numbers, they have not defended the run at all tonight. They have not done a good job. And I'm sure that's adding to their overall frustration.
On second down, Parmalee forges ahead to the 16-yard line. And now it's time for our first Golden Flake Ask the Announcer question. This is from Eye in Your Head, and I've got that with producers all the time. They're all in my head. Can we expect this many reviews in a regular season game? Oh, I certainly hope not, but we will if we continue with replacement officials.
Yeah, we had a total of 7 tonight. We just began the fourth quarter.
And I'm going to say this, there's a sack. Henne, and give the secondary a lot of credit for that as Braylon Broughton, 62, comes out of there with the sack, first of the night. But I think, as you see, Broughton coming through.
Alex Daniels, 78, providing the initial pressure. The Broughton comes in, cleans it up.
I'm going to say that the criticism of the replacement officials, in large measure, the first full week of the preseason, was that we did not see as many flags as perhaps we should have, that there were some mistakes made from that standpoint, Solomon, and what we see now is maybe a reaction to that. I'm going to say that there's the potential of that, as Cadet is stacked up after a 51-yard boot, only a couple of yards on the return. Antoine Blake was down there at number 38 to make the stop. The Café Du Monde will serve you some beignets and some that have a little stuffing in it. Back with more. Saints trail by 3. Tonight's question of the game, actually, we got to give the audience credit because the majority of them got it right. USC had the most and has produced the most to become New Orleans Saints through the years. Our many thanks to all of you for participating, and don't forget to text propane to 269-411 every time we play it, and you too can be a part of our text question of the game. 36%. That's pretty strong. Chris Ivory carries. And one of the USC players making that stat official, Cedric Ellis.
He's really coming to his own. I really have enjoyed watching him grow year after year, now going into his 5th year out of USC. Part of a lot of championship teams there at USC, and he's just really grown into his role here.
Yeah, 17 total players for the New Orleans Saints have been brought in from that storied program. That was Ingram, or excuse me, Ivory, I beg your pardon. That was carrying. It was stopped back at the 45-yard line.
And here Cadet continued to just rotate in, trying to get a spark, trying to provide a spark for this offense, led by Chase Daniels.
On this 3rd down play, Morgan and Courtney Roby are the wide receivers. Roby to the bottom of your screen on 3rd down and 3. And it's going to be Cadet. Boy, that's a sweet move to get that 1st down past midfield to the 49-yard line of the Jaguars. There's just tremendous confidence in going to him, whether it's number 9 or number 10.
Well, I can tell you this. This is something he gives you that maybe Ivory doesn't at the same level. Catching the ball out of the backfield, the ability to make players miss in space, creating extra yards, but just a natural catcher of the ball coming out of the backfield.
Daniel settles in and finds Cadet again. Running that little curl pattern right in front of Julian Stanford, number 57, weak side linebacker for Jacksonville.
We've talked about this last week against New England. I think Chase Daniel, this is about as comfortable as I've ever seen him in this offense. How much has he grown? And I think last year, without having a true offseason, no OTAs during the lockout, he really benefited from an offseason program this year.
10 of 13 for 126 yards and a touchdown tonight. Cadet with a flag down inside the 45 to the 44-yard line. Corey Irvin, number 79, made the stop. Yeah, I think he's really found his niche. He's carved his niche in this offense.
Legal formation, offense. 5 yards, still 2nd down.
And by becoming sort of the clone of Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that served him so well. And now, and the coaches talked about it in a wonderful article that was in today's Times-Picayune, discussing that, yeah, he might tuck it and run a little bit more than Drew Brees will, and that's okay. We're comfortable with that as an organization. That's what he brings to the table.
He's completing 70% of his passes in the preseason, so he's not running it too much.
That's right.
He's doing a good job moving the chains and finding the end zone.
Stepping up in the pocket, finding Roby. Just unable to reel it in. He was close. Well defended there by Mike Harris, number 35. It almost appeared as though he might bring that one in with one hand.
Yeah, Roby had to adjust and come back to the ball a little bit, but he did a good job of adjusting it, but good coverage on the play as well by Harris.
That's the way you draw it up defensively, isn't it? Just keep playing through the ball.
Yeah. Time it up, make a play on it. Roby's been making some plays. He was leading all receivers coming in today's game, but I think Joe Morgan's making a push for that 5th wide receiver spot.
Daniel airmailed that one a bit. Overthrown, intended for Moye. That's really the first pass that got away from him.
Sure did. You talked about cloning himself after Drew Brees. Drew goes 6 feet, 210. Chase Daniel, 6 feet, 225. A little bit heavier, but not a real tall guy in the pocket, but his ability to move around and find windows to get the release point down the field, I think, is something he really has learned from Drew Brees.
I want you to watch the development this year, Solomon, in the National Football League of Russell Wilson. That punt was high and taken in by Shorts. There's another short quarterback that I think is going to make it in the NFL.
He's already looked good in Seattle in the preseason.
Steps up in the pocket, gets a little bit taller. He just plays big. Some NFL scores from around the league. A look at the Town Place Suites by Marriott NFL scoreboard. We had a host of other action taking place. Carolina, I'll tell you, they're going to help make this division that the Saints are in with Atlanta awfully good this year with Cam Newton. Tennessee Titans really putting it to Tampa Bay. Detroit up on the Ravens. And the Raiders and Cardinals are at it in a close one out west. Richard Murphy carries, and Jordan Palmer is in the game at quarterback now for Jacksonville, number 5, seeing his first action. Murphy, a young man that many will be reminded of from LSU, a native of Rayville, Louisiana. Part of a championship team. Set sail here, and again, Saints defensively just yielding a lot of yards on the ground tonight. Johnny Thomas finally makes the stop.
Well, you know what the point of emphasis is going to be during the week, and that is the run defense. They have just been gashed repeatedly. And I'm including the first string defense, second unit, and now the third unit here in the fourth quarter as we watch Murphy rip off for a big chunk.
He was one of a complement of backs, as everyone can recall, from that 2007 national championship team that won right here in New Orleans at LSU. Matt Flynn, of course, now quarterbacking Seattle, was the, or likely to be quarterbacking in Seattle, was the starting quarterback for that team.
And now we're watching Jordan Palmer, the younger brother of Carson Palmer. Remember, he had played in Cincinnati. And Bob Bratkowski, who you mentioned, who's now coaching with the Jacksonville Jaguars, brings him over, knows the offense, and he's got some talent. He's 6'5", 230 pounds. But he's going to have to develop and grow.
Will Tafo'o is also in the game, running it inside some for Jacksonville, the fullback. That time it was Murphy, though, forging ahead for 3. He's at the 39-yard line. Well, they may mark it back at the 38. Tyron Walker, 75, comes back into the game for New Orleans. An article recently about Murphy's championship ring actually being stolen from him. And apparently happening yesterday. That pass from Palmer incomplete. It was intended for Mike Brown, the free agent from Liberty. Albert Mack was covering for the Saints.
Good coverage as well. Good coverage on the back end for the Saints. I think that's one area where I think you're going to see improvement also. They just have greater depth now in that secondary in terms of the quality of play behind Robinson, Jenkins, Harper, and Greer. You have a Johnny Patrick. You have Jonathan Amaya. And we talked about Abdul Kadus, who we've seen make some plays. Albert Mack.
Anger's boot comes down to Cadet, and he'll let it roll into the end zone for a touchback. A wise choice. 62-yard boot by Anger. New Orleans will have it. 5:25 remaining. The hardcores remain to see if the Saints can get into the end zone. 20-17, Jacksonville leading. Let's take a look at our Slidell Memorial Hospital player of the game. He's been named that a few times. Drew Brees, 10 of 13 tonight, a touchdown toss and 133 yards in the air. And he's a proud papa again. And again, our congratulations to Ian Brittany. And Chase Daniel out there with Joe Banyard behind him, number 36, and he will carry this time right up the gut, and he's ahead for 7 yards. Clock ticking with 5:16 and counting. Cadet re-enters the game for Banyard. Daniel quickly dumps it to Morgan. Boy, was he rejected. That was a first down, and then we'll send you backwards from the 32-yard line, but he does have the first down. Jarris Pendleton, the tackle, really popped him
Yeah, we always say keep your head on the swivel. They're coming in from all directions.
Bam.
There you see it. Or you can feel it.
A little bit of a hurry up by the Saints here. Daniel tries to move them quickly. Higgins with the reception at the 38-yard line.
You're thinking the Saints will go with 2 quarterbacks per usual, Breeze and Daniel?
I was of the belief, just based on the loss of Sean Payton, that the responsibilities on Drew might be so great this year that they might have to consider a third. As you see Roby coming in with the reception to the 45-yard line. But after having met with so much of the brass with this organization last week and this week, Solomon, I get the feeling that administratively and simply from a field management standpoint,
you'll need the other bodies.
Yeah, they're going to need the other bodies. And I believe that all of the coaches, whether they are interim head coaches, as will be announced on August 31st, and Vitt has to step aside for a few days. And even with Mickey Loomis out of the helm, as you see Higgins catching the football for another first down, I get the feeling that everyone knows their role to the extent that Drew perhaps only needs Chase Daniel as a backup, and that, yeah, the competition is too great in other areas to carry a third quarterback.
And, of course, we'll have Saints general manager Mickey Loomis joining us in the booth during that final preseason game against the Tennessee Titans in Nashville.
That's when decisions are really going to have to be
we'll
made.
be able to talk to him about it.
That's
He'll
right.
be able to weigh in and let us know. But
yeah,
teams keep 2 quarterbacks simply because that third quarterback, what does he do?
Yeah.
He doesn't play on special teams. He can't help you anywhere else. And he may never play. And your hope is that you stay healthy at that position so that he never plays.
Flag is down as Vanyard made the reception. Again, my thoughts were, again, solely based on, my goodness, what about the leadership area and the added responsibility?
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. 58 defense.
Wow.
15 yards to the end of the
Well,
run. Automatic first down.
That will help the Saints' cause, as Aaron Morgan is guilty of roughing the passer.
Yeah, he comes in and he's going to hit Chase Daniel, and I'm sure he's going to get an earful from his coach. Look at that, going right at the legs. Can't do it in the National Football League. You talk about this third quarterback. Okay, all the responsibility on Drew. What is that third quarterback going to do to help lighten the load for Drew?
Now, that's true.
I mean, in all practicality, how does that work out?
Yeah, no, you're right.
What are you going to do?
You're really weakening my case, aren't you?
Sorry, it's just
stuff.
yeah, he's going to go help out with Callan Christian Breeze,
maybe
newborn.
maybe make sure that the additional plays that Pete Carmichael has on that other play chart are there for him when need be. But you know, there are just I think so many unanswered questions.
2-minute warning.
And the only way this team will find out is once they've gone through it, because no other team in the National Football League, no quarterback has ever gone through not having their head coach for an entire season. I get the feeling that it's business as usual in so many ways. We'll be back. We'll be back 20-17 our score. The Saints have the ball at the 24 of the Jaguars. Let's get the thoughts of Drew Brees when asked the question about the mentality of this team.
I think the mentality we have is, you know, we know we're a contender in this league, but we got to go out and prove it every day. We always play with a chip on our shoulder. We always have something to prove. We know that there's people gunning for us because we, you know, 2 of the last 3 years we've been our division champion. We've gone deep into the playoffs, won a Super Bowl, won more games in the last 3 years than any other team in this league. So we know that people have us circled on their schedule.
When you know that, then whatever additional responsibilities come your way, you're seemingly pretty comfortable with.
41 wins over the last 3 years. That's an average of 13 wins a year over a 3-year period, including postseason wins also. There's a bullseye on this team, but they understand it.
2nd and 11. Daniel, what a catch by Cadet. Travaris Cadet, touchdown.
I tell you what, Cadet gets all the love, and rightfully so, but shouldn't get any more than Chase Daniel, who really paid for it as he hung in there to deliver that ball while he was being blitzed, hit, and beaten up. He's going to get pounded here. But look at the move, breaking of tackles to get it into the end zone. That's the things that make Cadet very special.
That hit came from Georgia Selvey. He was also being blitzed by Mike Harris. Now that was just a thing of beauty. And Cadet, his ability in making catches, that ball was delivered, but it wasn't the easiest catch. I mean, it really wasn't.
And people say preseason games don't count. All I know, having played in this league for 7 years, when you get up tomorrow morning, when Chase Daniel get out of bed, his body will tell you that every hit is for real.
See, he had to break that tackle. The pass was well thrown, but a little behind him.
It beat coverage.
Yeah.
That's the point. It beat coverage while under pressure.
15 of 20, 182 yards for Chase Daniel, who has arrived as an NFL quarterback, albeit behind the best in the business as a backup. As you look at our Rouse's Market scoring drive, and Travaris Cadet is trying to arrive as a roster member of this football team, and
now you get him out of the game.
Yeah,
I really believe this is where you. Okay, Chase, we know what you can do. That's why you have Canfield there.
Well,
and you want to lighten someone's load?
Yeah.
Then here's where it happens.
Here's the issue, though, as well. Remember, McCown is a veteran quarterback, albeit not one that's ever found a home. But they did bring in a veteran quarterback this year.
Luke McCown once played for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Take a look at the numbers for Chase Daniel.
Started for them.
He gets the ball in the end zone, and that's something you can't deny him. He's been really good. 16 of 21, high completion percentage yet again, even in this game. And that's not having the best offensive line up in front of her. That's the number 2s and 3s.
He's 16 of 21 tonight. He was 15 of 20 against Arizona. Those are the 2 games he played significant time in. Chase Daniel has taken advantage of this preseason. Corey Irvin coming away with the football for Jacksonville, and the Jaguars will have it first down with 1:47 remaining in the game. And Travaris Cadet and Joseph Morgan, both of whom have been on the receiving end of touchdown passes tonight, having an opportunity to chat about it with the veterans, Devery Henderson, Pierre Thomas, and Mark Ingram.
I want to go back and talk about Chase Daniel. Remember, there was a time when they did keep 3 quarterbacks. They had the older veteran in Mark Brunell, just in case something happened to Drew Brees. But they were always grooming Chase Daniel behind the scenes. And I think that's a situation where you might think about keeping 3 quarterbacks.
Jordan Palmer's pass is incomplete, dropped by Matt Feldman.
He rewarded the coaches. They hung in there, they taught them, and you could see the development and growth as a result of the patience.
Next week, that's a network game, so you and I will have a chance to watch it like everyone else, Solomon, and then we'll be back for the game in Tennessee. The Texans, that's always an emotional week of preseason. They're close to one another. It's sort of a I-10 rivalry game of sorts.
And the Texans are good.
Yeah, they're very good. They're Super Bowl contenders, many believe, as another pressure comes against Jordan Palmer. But I think in a lot of ways, maybe the anticipation of that camp finally breaking this week, we'll learn a lot, I mean a heck of a lot, about where the Saints really are when they play the Texans.
The Texans are sort of every bit the Saints equal in terms of offensive production.
You can make a case
for Arian Foster, Andre Johnson, and Matt Schaub. They can put up 27 to 30 points a game.
They are really, when you can make a case that they're the AFC equivalent of New Orleans.
Timeout, Jacksonville. That's their first charge timeout of the half.
The major difference
being 30-second timeout.
Major difference being their quarterback has not been as healthy as the Saints quarterback through the last couple of years, but even still, that's an organization that's really got its act together right now.
And remember, I think it was just a year ago, you and I were there, and Arian Foster had his way.
Oh, yeah.
Running through that defense, they put up points in a hurry, and it wasn't even close. Now, albeit it was a preseason game. But the Houston Texans are one of those sort of former expansion teams still in its infancy, striving to become like what Drew Brees said, they're all gunning for us. And I think Houston, when they play the New Orleans Saints, that's what they're envisioning.
They thought they should have.
We want to be like you.
They thought they should have beaten the Ravens last year, Solomon. That's a Houston team that probably felt they let that game get away in Baltimore in the playoffs.
With a third-string quarterback.
Yeah, that's right. 5 defensive backs for the Saints now on 3rd and long for Jordan Palmer, and it's caught. First down. Justin West from Fresno State extends out there to bring it in. Clock continues to move with 1:23 remaining. Palmer again for West, and that one's airmailed a bit, incomplete.
Well, Palmer's one of those guys, you see the high throw. Balls tend to get away from him a little bit. And when that happens, the defense has to make them play. And as you take a look at Spagnuolo, he's thinking, guys, can we get a pick? Can we put an end to this? Because they want to preserve the win. Right now, they have the lead in this game. It is a preseason game, but they want to win it.
2 of 9 for 14 yards now. As you see Palmer trying to make his move away from Tyron Walker. Flags are down as he's taken out at the 43-yard line. Preliminary indication is holding against Jacksonville. Drew Nowak, 64, may have been the guilty party.
Take a look at it right there. See right there. Got to release him.
10 yards from the
He gave him a pull and then a push.
Now you can't get the hands outside the framework of the body of the defender who's rushing the passer. And Mike Mularkey said, you just made my job a little bit more difficult.
Jacksonville quarterbacks now 2 of their last 9. That's bringing in the first few passes for Palmer and the last few for Henning. Out route is caught by Mike Brown.
I tell you, Elbert Mack, he's done a pretty good job in coverage.
He's been very active
4
tonight.
tackles. Yeah, he's been in position, helped create a turnover on the deflected pass. Pass ended up being intercepted by his teammate Abdul Kudus.
Tell you what, Patrick Robinson had a little rust tonight.
Oh, a lot of rust.
And Jabari Greer is back. He returned to the team on Monday after having the hernia surgery. So they're happy to have him back, but it's going to be a while before they put him out there. As you see, the pressure again coming off the edge from Donovan Robinson that time, the free agent from Jackson State, and the pass thrown incomplete.
And as you know, I think we take a look at this football team, pressure coming in on Palmer. You were talking about the cornerbacks and the missed action by Patrick Robinson and Jabari Greer. Greer has always been a really good tackler, but Patrick Robinson really did struggle to tackle receivers in space tonight. He really did struggle, and he's going to have to get better at it. And I'm sure he'll be able to shake off the rust over the next week or so in practice.
On 4th down with under a minute to go, Palmer lets it fly, and it's incomplete. And we're waiting for
now
Marker.
They're going to get a pass interference.
How about
they're
that?
going to give him the ball down the field on a 4th down play.
Wow. Wow.
And that ball was thrown up to no one.
You talk about a needless interference by the Saints secondary.
22 defense. Ball replaced a smart foul, automatic first down.
And it wasn't 22. Gomes almost had the interception. There was some contact made by one of the other players.
No. Could not have been
Not
on
Jose Gomes.
No, it could not have been on him.
See right there, 37, right there. That's where they're claiming. But that ball wasn't even catchable.
No, it wasn't.
By the offensive player.
And the hits just keep on coming tonight. And that pass is caught by Chaston West again.
They claim it.
Timeout, Jacksonville.
Let's go back.
Second charge timeout. Be a 30-second timeout.
See, he's telling the officials, he's trying to explain, that ball wasn't catchable. And they're saying that Nelson made contact with the receiver while the ball was in the air. Jose Gomes was diving for it, nearly intercepted it. They called it on Gomes, and he never even contact. But look right here. Now, that ball's well over his head. How are you going to say that's pass interference?
No, he's making a play on the ball, too. If anything, the receiver is initiating the contact.
Well, the receiver feigned as if he was being held.
It
was the equivalent to a flop by a center in basketball.
No explaining that call.
And there Joe Vitt is giving another educational tutorial on how it should have been called.
Well, the officials are not going to want to look at the film either this week. Palmer's pass incomplete. Intended for Kevin Elliott, number 87.
Means more work for your defense. And, of course, Mike Marcus says, well, they gave us a new life. You have a chance to win this game, so let's go for it. You got to expect they're going to take a shot at the end zone. If you're Jose Gums and the other safeties, better be ready to make a play because, Jordan Palmer will throw it to you.
Dime package in for the Saints, 6 defensive backs. 3rd down and 4 for Jordan Palmer. Looking long and incomplete. Will we get a flag? Yes, we will. That one's against Cord Parks. Chasten West, the intended receiver.
Well, he did trip him.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Let's be honest. And while we thought the other ones may not have been called.
31, defense.
See, watch
these. Foul.
That's a good call.
Cord Parks tripped the intended receiver. Contact on what probably going to be a catchable ball. We told you they were going to take a shot at the end zone. And they'll probably take another one here. And because of penalty flags.
Back in the Slap Your Mama red zone.
Yeah. Jacksonville's got a chance.
Palmer loops it long, incomplete. Intended for West again. And Elbert Mack, as you mentioned, has been around the ball. That's well defended by number 44.
I would have liked to see him get his head around and find the ball and make a play on the ball. Real close to making contact with the receiver because that's when you usually get the pass interference. To get your head around and find the ball.
Well, it may never have needed to come to this, but it is rather exciting here at the end, isn't it? 28 seconds left, 24-20, 2nd down, and a number of opportunities here for Jordan Palmer. Flags down, and that should be procedure against Jacksonville.
Ball start, 72 offense. 5 yards, still 7 left.
Lee Barbiez, number 72, moving early.
Right at the top of your screen, there he is moving before the ball was snapped.
What you probably ought to consider doing is an NBA flop on a corner route to get the call.
Looks like he could get the call.
Why not?
Look for an out route here at the bottom of the screen. Some kind of route going outside the numbers.
Palmer. That ball is overthrown. Intended for Kevin Elliott, 87.
It's only a preseason game. If you're Jordan Palmer, you've got to give your receiver a chance to make a play on the ball. You can't throw this out the back of the end zone. He's got no shot.
Brother of Carson, spent some time with Bob Brotkowski as a backup to Carson in Cincinnati. Looking for an opportunity here. He's got Elliott flanked to the bottom of your screen. Chasten West to the top of your screen.
Nick Hickson is a guy they just picked up and signed this week. Number 30, the cornerback for the New Orleans Saints.
Well, we have another officials timeout for some reason.
Reset the play clock to 12 seconds.
Okay, the
12 seconds on the play clock, please.
Play clock issued. Jaguars will have 2 shots at this. With a 4-point differential, there will be no field goal try. So 2 cracks from just outside the 10-yard line. Looking for Elliott. Incomplete. Pretty well covered there by the Saints.
If you're Hitch at number 30, you can't let him get outside you. Okay? Make a play on the ball. I mean, this ball is still in a position to be caught by number 87, Kevin Elliott.
Nick Hickson there providing the coverage for New Orleans. 4th down. And what's left of the crowd is on its feet and having a grand old time in the city that Kim forgot.
Elliott now at the top of your screen.
West at the bottom. He's looking in that direction for Elliott. Touchdown! Jordan Palmer will take it. 11 yards.
Cord Parks in coverage, number 31. You knew they wanted to go to Elliott. They threw it to him 3 consecutive times. Whenever he lines up, you knew that's where they were going to go. That's why I told the audience where he was aligned prior to the snap of the ball.
Were you a little surprised that Spagnuolo came with a blitz?
Well, I think you forced the early throw. You expect covers to hold up on the back end. Nate Bussey was able to get free. He was able to get to the quarterback. All Palmer did was just throw it to an area.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we're looking at third-team guys, a lot of guys that will not be a part of the 53-man roster. I just thought it was fun to
But you are finding out who can play.
That's right, you are. And it was interesting just to see that he would bring a blitz from the secondary that time to force that quick throw. Scobie with the extra point. And that was a drive that I would say was aided and abetted by some very controversial calls along the way. But that's one of those where Palmer did give his guy a chance to make a play on the ball.
Yeah. And it was a 4th down play where a pass interference call was made against the Saints when clearly it wasn't pass interference. Gave the Jaguars new life, and Elliott a game-winning touchdown.
Not even close to a pass interference. Well, let's see. 13 seconds left. You have a special teams opportunity. Let's see what happens. There's the old coach, Jerry Simmons. I mentioned 68 years of age. And Malarkey brought him out of retirement, said, come on back and coach my receivers. They've got quite a lot of competition with young receivers trying to make this team after their frontline guys. I first met him when he worked for Bill Arnsparger way back in 1984 at LSU. Been around this game a long, long time, has Jerry. Rouse's market scoring drive was a long one, and as we mentioned, aided by penalty.
Aided by penalties, and that's the unfortunate part. If you're Joe Vitt, I'm sure you're gonna bring that up. You're gonna talk to your players about it, but you're gonna also help them to understand that this could happen during the regular season. We could get an untimely flag that allows the game to be tilted. Now we still have to go out and make a play because they had an opportunity to make a play to keep Jacksonville out of the end zone.
Tavares Cadet trying to make one more play tonight. He's tripped up shy of the 30-yard line. Well, the Jaguars, of course, not with their best player tonight, Maurice Jones-Drew, sitting out tonight. Got him taken care of in the
they're missing their mojo.
That's right.
He led the league in rushing 1 year ago with those 1,606 rushing yards. Was first in terms of yards per game and even more carries than anyone else. You carry it 343 times, you're thinking, you know what, the body's going to wear out sooner or later. Maybe I ought to ask for a new contract.
Sean Canfield is coming to the game for one quick throw, and right away a flag down. Looked like a procedure.
68, 5 yards, still first down.
Darius Simmons moving prematurely. The most disappointing aspect of this game will be run defense, don't you think?
And poor tackling.
Yeah.
And poor tackling.
Decided to go underneath with this throw to Banyard. He's got to the 36-yard line, but the clock is wound down. And the Jacksonville Jaguars come out of here with a victory, 27-24 over the New Orleans Saints. Are they going to say that he got a timeout, really?
Timeout, New Orleans. Their second charge timeout. The clock operator, please set the clock to 2 seconds.
Well,
2 seconds.
They are going by the letter of the law tonight, aren't they? On occasion. But I think both coaching staffs would have been okay with calling it a night. You think he was ready for them to say, good night, Irene? I believe he was. You do recall, I'm bringing this up because we have time, that the Jim Haslett crazy lateral play was a game the Saints had against Jacksonville. And then, of course, the missed extra point after it.
Well, we're 3 hours, 26 minutes into this deal.
Just thought I'd bring that up. Canfield is sacked, and that will bring it to a close. The Jacksonville Jaguars win it 27-24. And as preseason games go, this was a very long one. And not at all the kind of evening that the Saints had anticipated defensively, although they did address some of their prior issues from an offensive standpoint. But the Jaguars win it on a 4th down play by Jordan Palmer, brother of Carson. Elliott with the catch, and the Jaguars come out of here with a victory. Back to wrap it up after this.